Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum. I am Dylan Murray, and welcome to the No Limit Wrestling Show. I am joined as always, by Xavi, my co-host. And today we have a guest who y'all likely have never heard of because he is one of my childhood friends who I used to play uh, SVR games with and 2K games with. So first of all, Xavi, how are you doing today?
Good. It's crazy you called me Alex.
I
We
called you
are
Alex.
nowhere. We're
Yeah.
nowhere near the same person, but I'm doing good. Excited to talk about 10 hours worth of pro wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. We watched quite plenty, and I decided, we're if you couldn't read the title, we did the Big Egg Wrestling Universe show from AJW. This is the 26th, no, 31st. I'm sorry,
Where
31st.
did
Okay,
26
you know,
come from?
plus one, whatever. This is the
Oh,
the
bro.
31st anniversary of the show that happened a couple days from now when we're
Hmm.
recording this. And I thought instead of just doing like a normal show where we kind of just like talk about all the things that we've talked about a lot with these retro Joshi shows, it's like we have pretty consistent takes on them and whatnot. I thought that I would bring in somebody who has never watched a retro Joshi show, who isn't even particularly like a Joshi fan these days. I know Chris, you're a big Sauri fan, and there's a few Joshi wrestlers you're obviously a big fan of, but isn't as plugged in as we are, so we can get kind of a fresh perspective on get a fresh perspective on the show because we don't really get that much. So, Chris, how you doing today? And are you excited to be here?
Pretty good, pretty good. Very excited to be here. Very excited to give my takes and opinions, of course. I'm a very vocal guy. I try to be outspoken on a lot of things, and I guess wrestling's definitely one of them. I don't share common opinions often with others. It just really depends. But yeah, I mean, Joshi wrestling, kind of new, kind of not. Very big into the stardom scene from like 2015 on. But as far as retro goes, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of diving into the deep end, getting out of my comfort zone, which is good.
Yeah, I just so y'all know, he says he's a contrarian. His favorite wrestler of all time, Brian Danielson. Don't blame him. Correct take. Correct take. Like it's fair. Like, I don't have him at number one, but
Contrarian. Yeah.
it's fair. But like the most like beloved American wrestler of all time is your favorite wrestler. So don't expect, the scorching hot of somebody that you would learn to hate. Chris is uh a smart guy. He's not. I don't think he's gonna make anybody too mad. Uh, but if he does, it's not my fault.
I look
Um,
forward to it.
but yeah, so we watched Big Egg Wrestling Universe. Obviously biggest show in Joshi wrestling history. Um, the attendance was reported as 42,500 people, which
Hmm.
is insane, but a notorious lie.
Yeah.
They did not get that number because, and I read this online, because the tickets for the show were so absurdly expensive that if they just lowered the price, they probably could have gotten close to that number. But because they were so insistent on not lowering the price, it did not do that well, and it essentially was like, yeah, we're not doing another show in the Tokyo Dome because we didn't
They
actually draw
lost so
that
much
well.
money.
They
Yeah.
lost so much money but they lied about it. 42,000 in the Tokyo Dome is like a great number.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think Wrestle Kingdom 20 just like surpassed 42,000
Yeah.
ticket sales, and that's like
Off the
fucking
back of
huge.
one of the
Yeah.
greatest wrestler ever retirement. So
Yeah, so like the
they're
Tokyo
not
Dome.
normally doing that in the dome.
No, 42.8 ain't like that. You don't just pop a 42,000 out of nowhere, and they didn't. But as for the show itself, the show was pretty much all about Akira Hokuto. I think it's fair to say, even though it's a
Hmm.
9-10 hour wrestling show, it was very much focused on Akira Hokuto. She stated that she would retire to Shinobu Kandori a year and a half prior if
Hmm.
she lost to Shinobu Kandori, I should say. Um, and she did lose. So 1994 was kind of her splitting time between Japan and Mexico,
Hmm.
soft retiring, doing this retirement tour type thing. And then, AJW was like, oh, we're doing the Tokyo Dome. And she said, if I win this tournament, I won't retire. Uh, so that was kind of the whole vibe around Akira Hokuto. This was kind of like
Mm-hmm.
a make or break moment for her, if you will. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler: she didn't. She didn't make out at this point. She had a few more years left in her. But yeah, so that's kind of the focus of the show. 23 matches, including women, men, and miniature wrestlers, if you will,
Yeah.
some shoot fights as well. And as was the case with a lot of shows in this era, it hosted a ton of different companies. It hosted JWP, LLPW, FMW,
Mm-hmm.
Michinoku Pro, WWF, and Gaia Japan, which hadn't even opened yet,
It
but
was literally just Chigusa.
no, it was Fujitsu and Kaoru.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Because Kaoru had already left years prior,
Yeah, yeah,
AJW, and she was Chigusa's little buddy. And the eventual JD Star wrestlers as well,
yeah,
which
yeah,
Chris, I don't think you understand like most of the words I'm saying, but we'll get there. Don't worry.
yeah.
And yeah, well, it was kind of like disconnected from a lot of the AJW house style.
Mm-hmm.
If you do want like a linear kind of like thought process, we did review the big show that happened right before this last
Mm-hmm.
year, which is WrestleMania 94. And you can go check that out if you would want to. But again, this is kind of like it's kind of funnily enough, considering how big and how much was in it. It's a very standalone show, all things
Mm-hmm.
considered. Like you can jump in and it won't give you like a real like showing of what 1994 All Japan Women's was because
Yeah. You don't
it
get
was
one
kind of
company's distinctive style just because everybody's in the mix.
no, and I think AJW is kind of known for very specific tag
I
style.
think I think that worked for better and for worse, just
Yes.
because I think if they were to do something similar now, first of all, it wouldn't be 25 fucking matches because everybody would just get thrown in a gauntlet. That's
Yeah.
first. Secondly, I think more people would have what I would have wanted from this card, as far as they would have had the common sense to at least give you one match where you get the true style of a respective company.
See, and I think we got that eventually. Funnily enough,
Yeah.
I think it was like 20 matches into the show, but we'll talk about that. Point being, show was very much not just like your standard
Hmm.
AEW for the time. In some poor ways and some good ways, like we'll kind of discuss that. But yeah, that's kind of the overarching feeling of the card. Some of the background I wrote down that I thought I would share with y'all. Um, if y'all would like to start the show, was there any? I know we aren't doing like the oh, what did you expect? But is there
Hmm.
any like thoughts when you looked at maybe the card? Chris, I'll start with you. Like what were you thinking? Obviously, you didn't know a lot of these names, but it was a big undertaking that I'm happy that you did along with us. But what were you thinking when you looked at the size and scale of this card?
Um, so yeah, you did. I was filled in
Mhm.
on how long it would be, and at the time I was like, let's dive right in. But when I actually sat down and watched it, not all at one time, thankfully,
Yeah.
which that's probably for the best. But yeah, I mean it's a different animal for sure. I mean I've watched wrestling shows that are 8 or 9 hours long, and I mean it could be exhausting. But the multiple sessions that I did, I mean, it was a lot. I mean, it's about kind of what I expected though. As far as names go, yeah. I mean, I knew like four, which was I mean
Hmm.
probably how I would have wanted it. I mean, I didn't feel like I was missing context in places too much. I mean, it like you said. Earlier, I think the comment of you can just dive right in and watch this standalone pretty much holds true. I mean, I felt like I knew what was going on. I felt like I knew the story with a lot of these girls, and yeah, I mean, I felt like I by the end of it I had a grasp. So I'd call that a success.
And Xavier, obviously, we made this deal that we would do this for the anniversary. Um, Once we actually got there, you text me, you're like, "This is gonna fucking suck. This is
Yeah.
gonna be so damn long."
Yeah.
And I'm taking a break from watching wrestling lately, so like, I put that on top of everything. That it's like I'm kind of distancing a bit from wrestling, and it's like, oh yeah, I have 10 hours worth of wrestling to watch. It
Well,
has been a very interesting experience the past week and a half or so.
Well, you have to remember, I also am. while I'm trying to watch this, I'm watching the stuff I need to record with Beth every Friday.
Yeah.
And then I also have work. So it was a pain in the ass to get through, but like it wasn't necessarily bad by any means. It's just a matter of God. But like I hate to be that guy that's just like, oh, it's 25 matches, so it's long. It is exactly that. Okay. Like I wish I could sit here and tell you, oh, it's not really. No, it's long. You would need to do some skipping around if you want to reasonably watch it. But
Yeah.
as far as
Oh,
yeah.
no, you're good.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, as far as like coming into this, I just had an immense fascination with the V top because
Mm.
it is so very clear that there's a lot of people they probably wanted in here instead of a lot of the people that ended up being involved.
Yes.
But for political reasons, that was not going to happen.
And a lot of them were on this show. We'll kind
Yeah,
of
no,
talk
they were
about
still
like
on the show. However,
we'll kind of talk about like, oh, this tag featured this wrestler who definitely should have been in the V top, but definitely didn't want to lose to Akira
yeah.
Hokuto.
And funnily enough, and I'll just mention this now because it happens a lot throughout the night, so I can't really pinpoint one instance because it happens a lot. A lot of the V tops like interpromotional, so when these wrestlers lose, a lot of them are kicking out at 3.1 as a compromise, just
Yeah.
a compromise for losing. So that, and these are like a lot of these people are losing. Like, why? Okay, like not to get ahead of myself, but why is Eagle Sawai kicking out at 3.1 to Akira Hokuto?
That's a great
Like,
question.
like now imagine them trying to convince Shinobu Kantori this. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, you're definitely
Yeah.
hitting the nail on the head there. But
Yeah.
without further ado, we should probably get into the gargantuan show that it was,
For
starting
sure.
with the match. It was Bomber Hikari of Gaia Japan, another one of Chigusa's trainees, not
Mm-hmm.
trainees, Chigusa's friends, I guess you should say, from
Chigusa's
the
little
80s.
buddies, as you would
Yeah,
like to
yeah.
label Kaoru.
Yeah. So Chris, for context here, Gaia Japan, Chigusa Nagai was like most legendary wrestler of all time, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing was in the 80s and early 90s, and beforehand, AJW made you retire when you turn 25. I don't know if you ever heard this rule,
Mm-hmm.
but this is like a very common thing.
Okay.
And so Chigusa Nagayo, like biggest star in Joshi wrestling history, was forced to retire in 1989, and a few years later, she was granted the opportunity to come back, and she was like, "Wait, I can just open up my own company and like keep wrestling like nothing ever happened."
Yeah.
And so, in 1994, 1995, she decided to do that, and she brought back some wrestlers from the '80s who kind of had to,
We're
cut their
forced
careers
out
short.
because of the age.
And one of them was Bomber Hikari, and a year later, someone you'll know, Chigusa did train Mako. Mako was one of the first
Oh,
Yeah.
she was one of the first debutantes
That's why
of
she wears the
Gaia
red,
Japan.
because that was a pass down
Yeah,
from
Chigusa's
Chigusa. That's a
yeah.
lineage thing.
gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, Gaia's most famous present to the world was Mako and Chigusa's continuing career. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so Bomber Ikari, for example, debuted in I want to say '87,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of just faded away, and then she came back as a underling in Gaia. Um, Yeah, this match also featured, I don't know if I even said it, Hiromi Sugo, who was from JWP,
Mm-hmm.
and Hiromi Yagi from JWP as
Who
well.
we've talked about so much on the show already.
Yeah, I think this match specifically was one of those matches where it's like not much was really going down, but
Mm-hmm.
you do see some like really highlight spots, mainly from Chaparito Asari, who did the
Mm-hmm.
iconic to was it somersault?
Mm-hmm.
No, cartwheel to the ring down the stage, looking like she was about to fall off the Tokyo Dome stage like a fucking psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it was awesome, and she did the Sky Twister, which she invented, the Spiral Tap,
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. So I think Asari was obviously a standout, but Hiromi Yagi, for
Mm-hmm.
someone who had just debuted at the beginning of that year, absolutely incredible performance here from
Mm-hmm.
her. Just really showed out, and yeah, I really appreciate what she was able to do here. Again, I didn't think there was much take home from this match, but I did think that those two in particular had solid enough showings for me to be like, oh, that's cool. Xavi, I'll start with you. How are you feeling here?
Okay. So I meant to put Asari was spamming Jumbo Ceruto knees, and that was real. But no, but I ended up typing Asari was spamming Jumbo to Darius's knees. I don't know who the fuck Jumbo to
Jumbo to
Darius.
Darius. That's
But
crazy.
yeah, Hiromi Yagi, one of the greatest beasts ever. She's a breathing example of how good technical wrestling can be when it's refined. It's a solid opener with very few mess ups, to be honest. I love the fact that Hikari was at the end of this match just spamming standing alley oops while Asari was sitting
Yeah.
patiently on the ropes trying to wait to do her move. And Bomber just said, "Nah, bro, let me cook. I got something."
I just watched Big Show versus John Cena. He spammed them too. That's
He's
crazy.
been, oh my god, Bomber Hikari is Big Show. Shouts out. But yeah, man, it's just a fun opener. You know, it's only like 6 minutes 53 seconds, so nothing too crazy.
Yeah. And Chris, how are you feeling?
I said it was a solid opener. I said that Asari read to me like uh not leaps and bounds among the others, but more so that she got more spotlight than the
Yeah.
others. Um Kind of what you guys said with Yagi. I said like the judo throws at the start of the match,
Hmm.
her technical prowess. It I mean, as a technical wrestling guy, it really got to me. Uh I did not know that she invented the spiral tap, so that is pretty crazy information. I'm gaining context here. I like it. I like it. That's yeah.
She
That's
also killed the women's division in WWE.
Yeah,
Um,
oh. There you
because
go.
Aja Kong and Shabrita Asari the following year had a match on Raw. And it was so good,
the
and
guys got pissed.
Aja beat her up so bad that the guys were like, "Women shouldn't be allowed to do all this," and
Yeah.
and they completely slashed the women's division because the
Because
match
the
was so good.
basis was just Blaze versus Japanese import. So mainly Herd and Bull, obviously. But like the basis of this division was just Blaze, Bull, and then I guess they were going to continue to bring over Japanese talent, and the guys were pissed, and
And
they were just
Monster
like,
Ripper,
bro,
but yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah, shouts out, she did get signed. Shouts out Monster
Bertha
Ripper.
Faye.
As
Um,
a fellow misandrist, yeah, that adds
That
up.
sucks.
That adds up. That the men in the '90s, all their big ass egos. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah. So
that that tracks.
but like if you watch the match, like I believe Macho Man was on commentary, and he was like, "God damn, this is what's up, bro."
great match, yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
Nose
Shabrita,
ball.
sorry. Those are the two big things. She created the spiral tap, and she killed the women's division WWE for like 10 years.
yeah,
Um,
in like a 5 minute match. Shouts out.
from a random squash
That's crazy.
on Raw. But following match,
Yes, sir.
All right, here we
uh,
go.
Butsu Genjin and Little Great Muda defeated to, Tomezo Sunokake. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
Um, in 4 minutes 46 seconds rather. Little Great Muda, Little Frankie, legend of
Yeah,
the business. Love that guy. We talked
he's
about
one
him
of my
last year.
goats.
Yeah, he's a funny dude and he's really good.
He's
Like
actually not bad.
he's
Like out of all the minis matches we reviewed that's been on Joshi shows, Lil Frankie, Lil Great Muda, he's legitimately like good.
yeah. And for a little context, and this might
Oh,
be
you ain't
hearsay.
shit.
Little context.
That
Oh
wasn't on
no.
purpose. That
You
wasn't
Oh
ain't
even on
shit,
purpose.
bro.
no.
You ain't shit, bro. I swear.
Okay, Little Great Muda, he notoriously worked backstage at AJW,
Yeah,
and one day they were
he
just
was
kind
the
of
guy
like,
on Queen of Villains.
yeah, Queen of Villains. In Queen of Villains, famously, there's a little person who like helps Tom Matsumoto like
Yeah,
discover pro wrestling. It's kind of crazy. And everybody kind of
it's supposed to
assumes,
be
like
Lil
everybody would
Frankie.
think, yeah, it's Lil Frankie who, big backstage helper during the 80s and 90s especially. And so, he was also a wrestler, got some time in the ring. And yeah, this was a match. This was fine. It wasn't bad. Like I've definitely
No,
seen worse.
no, for
Like
sure.
I don't know, when you look at the size of this card and you're kind of like, damn, I got a handicap match amongst minis. That's an interesting thing to put on the card. You'd think, that's not. I thought it was fine.
I think it requires the context that minis were a staple on Joshi shows since like the inception. So like it's them paying tribute to
Yeah.
like the history of Joshi.
I just. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I was exactly gonna say that. So when I watched it, I did not know that context, and then
Hmm.
so because I did research on the show beforehand, but not a lot.
Hmm.
But I did a lot of research on the actual show, like the show itself, after I watched. And yeah, that gaining that context, I was like, oh, this makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what we'll talk about with the 6 man tag with the men, I also, yeah, I mean
Mm.
yeah.
that out of context, I was like, well, this is weird. And then after watching and gaining context, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. But I wouldn't call it. Yeah, it was not bad by any means. I said it originally. I had wrote down it was out of place, but then I deleted that. But I said comedy spots were good. Overstayed its welcome a bit, but still welcome.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Um, Little Great Muda fell off the top rope onto his head.
Yeah,
That
for
did
real.
happen.
Yeah,
He
Um,
spiked himself. I was like, dang, bro.
I wrote down a joke in my notes that I don't think I can say, unfortunately.
Nah,
I
probably
don't
not.
know what I was thinking there, but Tomezzo did spin Little Great Muto on his afro too, and I thought that like those were my two spots was doing that, and then I don't know I thought like you said I think the comedy spots worked. Um, I thought it could have been a lot worse, so I didn't mind it at all. But
Um,
go ahead, Xavier. Or, yeah.
I have two sentences. One, Lil Great Muda should have been in the Michinoku Pro match later in the night.
Oh, here we go. Rapid fire.
Two, Little Great Muda versus Saya Kamatani probably would have been a heater. Okay, that's it.
You're getting your other goat. Don't you worry.
Oh
Don't
yeah,
you
bro.
worry.
No, I
You
wrote
getting
that before that happened, so I
I
was like,
know
and I looked back at my notes. I was like, bro, what?
you getting huge against Sayakamatani. Don't you worry.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm renaming your show after after he wins.
We gotta get him on the art. Yeah. Next match. I just have Candy Okusu here. It was
Tough
Candy
talk.
Okusu of JWP defending the junior championship against Rie Tamada of AJW. This was also the
This is a
culmination.
Argion classic right here, brother.
Yes, actually, yeah. I think they literally did run this back like
I think it was
years
an
later.
AORS tournament that we
Yeah,
watched.
yeah, yeah. Shit, yeah, that's true. That's crazy. Our first show, our first episode of No
Yeah.
Limit, or second episode, we watched this match like 9 years later, but not nine, like 4. But this was the culmination of the JWP AJW Junior League
Hmm.
that we kind of talked about last month or last
Hmm.
year rather, and yeah, it was a final that Candy Okatsu Candy just kind of killed everybody in one. She went in as champion, she left as
Yeah.
champion, and there's good reason for that. Candy Okatsu fucking ruled. She was awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was kind of like the big thing is that Candy Okatsu is really cool. But to be fair to Ria Tamada, before she ended up getting kind of like hurt and have to slow down a lot, she did some really like crazy like cross bodies. She had some really
Hmm.
good had really good agility, a lot of fast paced stuff, really explosive stuff. So, and this was obviously before she ended up getting the wear and tear down the road. So
Hmm.
I did really appreciate what she was able to do here as well. And Candy Okatsu with the Rolling Germans thought was a really cool way to finish the match. Another solid one. I liked it. Chris, how are you feeling?
So in my notes, I said nice high spots at the beginning to get the crowd back into
Mhm.
it. That is why I gave the nod to Tamada because I came away being really impressed with her because
Mm.
of the way she was able to get the crowd back into it. The Avalanche, Northern Lights. That
Yeah, yeah.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed, and I
Big
also
fan.
wrote. Yeah, I also wrote down that the finish I liked a lot. I do like her just German suplexing her a
It's a
couple
classic.
times.
Sometimes you just gotta throw some Germans, bro.
I agree. I mean, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Xavier.
Yeah, man. I'm love anytime. I love anytime we can show some love to some No Limit Hall of Famers. On this
Yeah.
show. When we last got to talk about Rie, this was obviously at the backside of her career when we last got to talk about her. So it was good to see how different she worked at this stage of her career because
Yeah.
it was very different. Obviously, the wear and tear hadn't quite kicked in yet. The grounded bow and arrow that Rie did was really nasty. It was pretty sick. Candy won with the multiple German suplexes, and watching, I would have like if I watched this match in real time, I probably would have swore that Candy was going to be the one that goes on to be the more accomplished of the two. However, it's Rie by a good margin.
Yeah.
Rie is like a million-time Arjan tag champ, 2-time AJW tag champion, and ultimately just has a longer career.
Yeah. Candy Okatsu is always that wrestler who like feels like she definitely should have done more. By
She's
the
like
end.
a more subtle what if, as
Yeah,
in
because
like
like
she probably wouldn't have been like, oh, she would have been like a main event top tier name, but she definitely could have done more.
because this was like her championship wise her peak. She
Yeah.
did go on to obviously win the Rs 98 that we talked about
Mhm.
um 2 years ago now at this point. So like she had a couple accomplishments, but she never really got to break out and like be that top dog. Even though
Mhm.
she was wrestling for 9 years, which is very long for
Legitimately,
these years.
Arjan might have been the peak as far as her being a top dog.
Oh yeah, definitely. She got championship matches.
Yeah.
She, was treated well. I mean, because think about it, she was junior champion constantly,
Yeah.
from '93 till '96, and then she did nothing until she left in
Mhm.
'97 to join Argion, and it's kind of a shame because yeah, I mean, you see it here, you see it years later. She was just always really dope,
Mhm.
and it's definitely a big what if for her because she was always a lot of fun. Ria Tamata, like you said, got plenty throughout her career.
Mhm.
She obviously never really got to be that like world champion type, but she got the countless twin star championship runs. She got AJW tag team championship runs. Like she was
She
doing
had a
pretty well.
solidified place that got her
Yeah,
on the rotations.
she
So,
was a strong tag wrestler throughout her entire career. So
and my last notes isn't really about the match itself. I just love the AJW junior belt. I love the nice shade of the strap, and I've always been a fan of the place that are on the AJW belt. So,
yeah, Xavier, big belt guy, by the way.
yeah,
A
for
nice
sure.
belt.
It
It
is a
was
nice
a
belt.
nice belt.
But next up, oof,
Yes,
love this
sir.
match, and I love this woman. It was Suzuka Minami defeating Kaoru in 9 minutes 33 seconds. Kaoru obviously representing Gaia Japan, Suzuka Minami representing AJW. Suzuka Minami, man, Suzuka Minami.
Now Suzuki Minami is someone who I will champion. She should have been one of the very, very, very top names.
Yeah, I think Suzuka Minami's like one of the most underrated workers of all time.
For
Legitimately,
sure.
she's a part of uh pro- one of my favorite tag teams of all time
Yeah.
with Akira Hokuto in Marine Wolves. They were a tag team in the late '80s and early '90s,
I mean,
and
Manami got a white belt run, which is cool, but
I watched it.
she
It
should have got
didn't.
more.
They
She
did
should have got
not
more.
give a fuck. They treated that white
Still,
belt
but
reign
like
like shit.
accomplishment wise, she
Yeah,
got more than most people would have gotten. So like,
yeah. I don't know. Again, Victory Through Guts, which was the
yeah,
podcast I ran, the first podcast I
yeah,
ever ran, went through the early '90s of AJW,
yeah.
and so I watched
She got the
Suzuki Minami's
Konami
run.
here. Damn, thank you for your hard work run. Okay,
Here, that
like,
it's funny because it was so early. Like this was like
yeah, yeah,
1991. But
yeah.
yeah,
Well, they're just like here, bro. Let's
yeah,
see.
just like whatever, dude. We don't give a fuck about this belt right now. Because Suzuki Minami, I know we haven't even talked about the match, but Suzuki Minami was so fucking good. Her
Mhm,
power bomb is a thing of beauty. Literally my favorite, just my favorite thing about like the first half of the show was Suzuki Minami hitting power bomb. First of all, trying to hit power bombs and keep like not being able to hit it,
mhm.
and then later into the match, she hits her
Hitting it.
first power bomb. It was like a good power bomb, and then she hit more. And every time she hit a power bomb, it was more ruthless. It was
Mhm,
more impactful. I think she hit four altogether, maybe three or four. And the fourth one, she just slaughtered her, and she won with it.
mhm.
Like I really loved I appreciate the thing about finishing moves, and not to get too sidetracked, but the thing about finishing moves is that it's like if you want to hit it a lot, like if you
Mhm,
don't want to be the Razor Ramon who hits one Razor's Edge and nobody's ever kicked out of it because
mhm.
he doesn't want you to kick out of it. If
Yeah.
you don't want to do that, if you don't want to do the the burning hammer type thing, you got to find a way to like make it feel like there's progression. If you hit it multiple times. Like I always hated when like a Roman Reigns, for example, hits
Mhm.
a spear and his fourth spear that he wins with looks weaker than his first one. Like I,
I
I
couldn't
want
agree more.
I want to feel that like escalation. If you're
No,
gonna
okay.
repeatedly hit moves, like hit the same move, hit the same finish, like I want to feel that like oomph on the end. You know what I mean? I want there to be like something special there. And I feel like Suzuki Minami kind of nailed down the head in this match. There's more to talk about here. Xavier, I'm gonna go to you first. Give me some thoughts on the match. I know you're a big Kyoto guy as well. So
Yeah, for
give
sure.
some love to her
For
too.
sure. First of all, I just noticed this ref has a Crady Adidas fit on, and we need that. We need that.
It's crazy.
I love Suzuki Minami and I love Kaoru. So I was ready for this match as soon as I saw it on the card. I agree with those people on Twitter saying AJW does moves better than modern wrestlers do it because it's like not just on a dangerous scale, it's just more pleasing to watch based on execution. Just
Hmm.
most standard moves, they're just more pleasing to watch on the execution aspect. I haven't seen this much effort and technique put into a schoolboy pin like ever. I forgot who did it in this match. I think it was Kaoru, but like actual effort put into a schoolboy pin. I was like, come on, man, this is the great game right here. Um, Manami also just does a beautiful pile driver as well. I love
Yep.
the near fall where Manami stopped the count after Kaoru's backslide by clasping the ropes with her ankles, which was big brain. Suzuki Manami was a bent knee away from inventing the Hell's Guillotine in 1994.
Oh man. Okay.
Because she dove off the rope and like I think she stomped her. She didn't bend her knee. She just stomped her
Yeah,
head
she does.
down.
Yeah, she does the
Yeah.
big stomp. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, she was a bit knee away from changing Renarita's life trajectory. Um, Kaoru doing the jump to the top springboard moonsault probably fucked the streets up back in '94. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, Kyoto was a psycho.
Yeah, hey, ultimately, I got what I came to see, and that's Suzuki Minami busting out some power bombs, and
Yeah,
that's really what I was waiting for the whole match was just Suzuki Minami busting out power bombs.
it is.
Nobody does, nobody does it quite like her, and I don't think they ever will get.
I think that's the thing about Suzuki Minami is that like at some point, she stopped getting like really. She stopped getting a lot of opportunities to do stuff, and
Hmm.
so if you watch shows like big shows from like 94, early 95, you see her be like, okay, I'm gonna be very technically sound. The fundies, I got the fundamentals, and I'm
Hmm.
gonna tag in, and I'm gonna hit a fucking power bomb and kill you to death, and I'm winning. And
Yeah,
that was kind of like that was her thing. She just came in, did her work, and then fucking killed you with the power bomb. And I think
yeah,
that always worked for her, even if you kind of want more from her. I still thought this match was a lot of fun. Kiaru.
yeah. I think it was even good by like today's standard.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I think, and Kyoru, as I was gonna say, she goes on to be like this like super cutthroat heel, like the a legendary heel in DFix and beyond. But here she was a bit more lucha influenced because
Hmm.
after she was forced to leave AJW because she got too old, she went to Mexico instead of retiring,
Hmm.
and she worked there a lot, and she learned more of the lucha stuff, and it became a big thing. Um, and so she kind of came back as a return match for her effectively, or one of the return matches to AJW. And I thought that was really cool to see her, still have her young attributes that she had like in the Honey Wings, for
Hmm.
example, which is a deep cut, but also kind of like have the lucha stuff. She isn't quite yet where gets to by the end of the decade, even where she becomes like a real top dog heel, or at least like a top tag heel. But she
Hmm.
still has a lot of those things. She's in that in between phase. And I really like what she was able to do. Chris, how are you feeling about this match? First, like real, like meaty match, I would say, on the card.
That
First,
was one of my notes. This was the beginning of a lot of notes on each match, and I kind of came out of this and wrote it down saying that this was the first match really to hit the second gear for me.
yeah,
I mean, not up until now, I didn't know anybody anyways, but for these two specifically, I'd say that I came out big fans of both of them. I said frantic pace. As you guys mentioned with the power bombs, I wrote the back work was pretty phenomenal. Really like the selling. Um, you guys mentioned springboard moonsault, which I have wrote down. It was magical, beautiful, probably one of the best I've
Hmm.
seen, especially in today's standards. I mean, they're kind of sloppy with it, but she was. Wow. Okay. I also wrote down the avalanche arm drag spot. I thought
yep.
was really well done. Again, compared to what they're busting out today, I thought it was beautifully executed. Um, let's see. I think that's about it. Yeah, One more thing I'd mention. Towards the end of the match, Kaoru like slaps the shit out of her
Yeah, yeah.
twice, and that got
That's what
me.
I was. That's what I was
That
about to
got
bring
me in
up.
there. Yeah.
Because,
Uh,
like I said, it's like she had the white meat babyface run in AJW as a tag wrestler, great tag wrestler in the '80s. She went to Mexico, kind of learned more of the like super high flying, the more technical stuff, all these things. Then she comes back to Japan, and over time becomes more of a brawler, more of a fighter. And while a lot of this match was those first 2 eras of Kira, you could see that like, oh, I'm gonna beat the piss out of you right now. You saw that kind of come out there with her slapping the shit out of her, and I really appreciated that. It felt like I said, kind of like that in between for Kara, where it's like eventually she really leans more on that, like I'm going to punch you in the face and kick you as hard as possible and slap you as hard as possible because I'm an asshole, I'm a heel. But you just get a little bit of that near the end here, and I really appreciated uh, the small instances of what was to come for Kuro
Mhm.
years down the line. But like I said, love that match. It was really good. First, like notably really good match on the card, I would say. Um, and then we have a detour. We have like about an hour and a half of shoot wrestling, in some way, shape, or form. First
And I have
match,
notes on one.
yeah. You know what? Which one was it? Is this one or was it
Yep,
later?
this is one.
Okay.
it was
I
this
gave up
one for
after
me.
this one.
Yeah,
We'll
for me
we'll
Although
as
shouts
well.
out, I do have a shout out in the second one.
yeah, we'll talk about this match in full, quote unquote, and then we'll kind of like zoom through the subsequent
Okay.
ones. This was Kamika Maekawa versus Sugar Miyuki Najima rather. Kamika Maekawa, Big May, becomes a legend down the
Mhm.
line, but at this point she could only really get on cards because she was really good karate practitioner and could kick the fuck out of you and beat your ass. So her winning on points, yeah, defeat.
No, for sure, it was on points,
Yeah,
but
she
because I
her
have a
winning
note
on
about
points
that, I was like, brother.
her win on points makes sense. She was zoning the fuck out of her ultimately. Like she was just her legs were
Yeah.
longer. She could just kick the fuck out of her, like whatever. So even when like Miyuki got some good punches off, it's just like May could just like back up and kick her in the head, and that was what you remember from that portion of the fight. I like shoot wrestling. I'm a big fan of the more shoot style stuff. Kickboxing matches in AJW are a bit hit or miss. I thought this was like one of the better ones I've seen. Certainly not the worst one I've seen. Uh, but it was certainly one of the best ones without Bat Yoshinaga in it, who was obviously the beast of the kickboxing division for a long time. Which yeah, Chris, the kickboxing division for some reason AJW created a belt, a shoot belt for
Okay.
for them for wrestlers to kickbox, and Bat Yoshinaga very like a powerhouse heavyweight wrestler. Kind of, she was Bull Nakano's kind of shadow, and she kind of like had the build of Bull Nakano as well, and just like kind of like had the vibe, and she just would slaughter random people. It would be trainees. They once hired a girl because she said she knew judo, and she was completely out of shape, should not have been wrestling. And Bat Yoshinaga just pummeled her like every day, every week for like a year. It was pretty disturbing. Again, covered that a few years ago, and yeah, so that we're still seeing the remnants of that here. That Yoshinaga retired around, I think, earlier in '94.
Mhm.
Um,
I think it was the last show. It was WrestleMania
oh, right. Yeah, we talked about
because we
last year.
talked
So
about
yeah,
it.
Bat retired a month prior, and so they were still kind of like doing the kickboxing stuff, but it wasn't really as like focal because all they had was Kamika Maekawa, who would go on to be a much better wrestler than she ever was a kickbox wrestler.
Mhm.
So this is kind of a weird, kind of a past its prime type of gimmick to do,
Mhm.
but that's why that existed. Xavier, you had a note. Go ahead.
Yeah. First note is this is how I imagine the first ever live No Limit wrestling show. Um, us doing
Who's
an
who?
AJ. I'm a big May, brother.
Fuck you, man.
This was definitely a work because Mikhail would have slaughtered her. She was whooping Sugar Miyuki's ass, brother. She went on points. So I was like, come on, bro. She was nice. Okay. There's no reason this should have went the full 10 and we went to points, bro.
And Chris, I don't know if you had any notes on these matches or if you just want me to kind of go through them, but
I have one note on this match, and that's it.
Okay.
It's just 3 words, and you guys have already mentioned it. And the 3 words are those kicks, Jesus.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
Big May, psychotic. Like she becomes one of the best late AJW wrestlers. In my opinion.
I implore everybody to watch her and Watanabe's tag stuff because their
Yeah.
finish is so fucking sick. Because Tomoko Watanabe's finisher is the Hell Smasher, which is one of my favorite moves ever.
Yeah.
But before
She
she
hits
does the Hell
really good.
Smasher, Big May just fucking kicks you in the face
Yeah.
while your arms are trapped behind your head. So you're just getting kicked in the face before going down.
Yeah, so Big May, awesome.
Yeah.
Happy she won here. She
Yeah.
won in the Tokyo Dome. Not a lot of people can say that, but
Yeah.
it was a kickboxing match. It was fine. Next up, amateur wrestling challenge matches. The first one is Doris Blind of France taking on Kyoko Hamaguchi of Japan. The second one is Anna Gomis of France taking on Miyu Yamamoto from Japan. So the first match was really fucking bad because these are bigger wrestlers. The second
Hmm.
match, the wrestlers a bit smaller, a bit just like shorter, so they could actually wrestle. But this match, they were both quite tall,
Hmm.
and so every single time Kyoko went for a double leg, it would end up in the ropes, and they would have to stop the match. This
Yeah.
match was supposed to be like 10 minutes, and it went like fucking 25
Yeah.
because they kept just messing up. Like it just didn't work.
Yeah.
Um,
Shouts out Kyoko Hamaguchi. She is
yes,
the daughter of pro wrestler Animal Hamaguchi, who most people may or may not know. Animal Hamaguchi Gym is notorious in Japan as it is the house where a lot of people trained, including uh, Yoshihashi, Tetsuya Naito, Bushi, Shingo Takagi, Takaki Watanabe, who goes on to be evil. Animal Hamaguchi Gym is just a Hiromu too.
yeah.
Animal Hamaguchi Gym is basically a LIJ hub
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say
a
Yeah, I was about
LIJ.
to
notorious.
say
LIJ.
there's a
Yeah.
little common people that
Yeah, it is a LIJ hub and just a notorious place where wrestlers went to train. And Kyoko Hamaguchi, I believe she's bodybuilding these days, and I know she like met up with Nanai when Nanai was on her retirement road
Yeah,
earlier
yeah,
this year. I was like, oh, I still want to like try and have a match as a wrestler. I was like, hey, bro,
yeah. So
do it.
that's kind of the thing about this stuff. So Kyoko Hamaguchi is easily, I would say,
Hmm.
the biggest what if in, or maybe not easily the, but easily one of the biggest what ifs
Hmm.
in Joshi history because she was the daughter of one of the best pro wrestling trainers ever.
Hmm.
Like that's pretty big. And she was courted by AJW for a decade. For a decade they were like, can you please learn to be a wrestler, can you
Hmm.
please pro wrestle for us, like will do whatever it takes, please, please, please. She ended up, she was on a Nippon Budokan show a couple years
Hmm.
later. All this stuff, she was 16 at the time
Hmm.
of the show, and instead of being a pro wrestler she decided to be
Hmm.
an Olympian, won the bronze medal in 2004.
Hmm.
And by the time she was like, okay, I won the bronze medal, maybe I'll be a pro wrestler, AJW closed down in
Yeah.
the dark
And
ages.
it was the Dark Ages, so there
Dark
wasn't a
ages.
clear number one for her to.
And so she was just kind of like, well, if I can't get paid, like if I can't, if there's nothing popping off in Joshi wrestling right now, why would I wrestle? Like it just
Mhm.
didn't really work. So, again, like really missed out on that
Mhm.
because she had the kind of like the presence, I would say. And I think it's a bit of a shame. And it's always cool to see an Olympian, or a potential Olympian, an Olympic grade
Yeah.
amateur wrestler move on to be a pro wrestler, but we never really got that. This one was bad,
Yeah.
like I said,
I
because
think I think things would be drastically different if the Dark Ages hadn't had happened and there was like
yeah,
a stable, at least stable number one. I think they would have been able to convince her to make the cross. And I mean, like I said earlier this year, she expressed interest in still wanting to do it. And she's only 47. She's still super young. So if she wanted to like get involved, she could.
yeah,
You need
shit.
to
I
be
mean,
wrestling Sari Yamaoka in Shinjuku Face right now.
for real. I was gonna say, let's give her to Shinobu Kandori, but I feel like Kandori doesn't like legit people.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Like
fair.
Kandori likes, asserting her dominance.
Don't worry, we'll get into the allure of Shinobu Kandori very
Yeah.
quickly soon.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so this one was bad. Blind won 7-5. Like I said, Kyoko could not do a double leg for shit because the ropes existed. Um, and the next match was Miyu Yamamoto, who actually had a Risen run like a couple years ago.
Yeah,
In her 40s, she went 6-8, which is kind of crazy. But
that's crazy. In her 40s,
yeah,
six
in
and
her
eight is
40s, she went
nuts.
6-8. She was a contender for the lightweight championship. She was a contender for a belt, uh, like several times throughout the couple of years that she was in there,
Hmm.
and she won 4-1. Next match, again, not good. Next match was a shootboxing match between Kyoto Ito and Fumiko Ishimoto. Ishimoto won. Man, Kyoto Ito.
I
Kyoto
need
Ito.
every.
You know what? You know what?
I
Actually,
need everybody to clip this. This is the one time Dylan will say anything negatively about a Ito match. So clip this
I
right
would
now and
never. I
post it.
would never. Kyoto Ito, my goat. Kyoto Ito, man. She like I feel like there was a point I think from like early 94 till 97 when they needed her was just like and beyond that, I mean Zaps, it was just a humiliation ritual for this poor girl. Like she just she was their punching bag. She was their if they had chicken shit to give you, she was given it and nothing more. She got her fucking shit kicked in. Chris, for your context, Kara Ito trained Sari, one of the greatest trainers of all time.
All
Um,
right.
Also, Sari's confidant, her mentor. If you ever see a Sari match and there's an older woman outside watching, that's Kuro Ito, my goat,
Oh,
my legend, love her to death. But she just got
Also,
cooked.
Ayako Sato and Hanako Nakamori, also Ito Dojo people.
Yes, yeah, just a bunch of people. Like one of the
Actual
again,
names within the
damn.
scene.
one of the greatest trainers of all time, Kira Ito would go on to be. And like I said, once they needed her in AJW, she like did her best, and she didn't do poorly. She didn't, you know, she didn't save the day, but she did well enough. And I love Kira Ito. I respect her a lot. She did not have a good time here. My goat deserved better. Uh, I was so fucking annoyed at this match. I just thought it was so bad. Like I don't know if we're counting the shoot matches on our but this was the worst viewing experience for me
I
was
felt
Ito
nothing
versus
watching these,
Ishimoto.
so they're not canon.
I hated it. I really hated it. But yeah, now on to something that wasn't as bad but was still
Pretty
bad.
bad.
Um,
I can't wait to
Pretty
talk about this.
bad.
This is really
Yeah.
fun.
Chigusa Nagayo defeated Reggie Bennett uh in a weird fucking match, bro. Like what the
I
fuck
can't
happened
wait.
here?
I'm so excited.
Um, this is like Reggie was on her Bozilla shit.
Yeah,
Uh,
bro.
but like not good Bozilla.
Was one note in my notes. Holy
Like I'm
shit.
talking like house show Miyu Amasaki match Bozilla, where it's just like it just doesn't click. I
Mhm.
question if she should be wrestling.
I
Um,
question if she should be wrestling. It's crazy. But
like I don't know, it just doesn't. I don't know, but before all that, I do want to point out one thing, and I'll go later. I'll let you guys go first. I do want to point out one thing in the pre-match promo, which was Reggie saying, and I quote, "We done with the '80s."
yeah,
That's
In
crazy. I did
1994,
not.
she's like, I know you were popping in the '80s, but we don't give a fuck about the '80s
we
right
done
here.
with the '80s, bro.
We done with the '80s. I'm just like, sure, okay,
Okay.
okay. Chris, take it away, buddy. How you feeling?
I did not watch that interview, but
You should have, bro.
I was going to talk about the entrance where she flipped her off, and that kind of adds up. Now I kind of gain context on that
Oh my
'cause
god!
this is
And then they
my
start
first
fighting.
Hmm.
this was my first exposure to Nagayo, and I was like, "Oh,
What a
okay,
terrible Chigusa
okay,
Nagayo.
here we
One of the
go."
greatest wrestlers of all time, and this is Chris's first experience. It's awesome.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I
that
think like top 5 wrestler of all time for me pretty easily. But I've also seen some of the worst matches of all time
From
with
her.
Chigusa Nagayo. Like some of her match, like when she was bad, she was one like she would give you the worst match you've ever seen. Not even this one. Like this match was not good. But she is capable of some shitters, like really bad matches. And this match was, close to it, but not quite that bad. But Chris, go on.
Yeah, that is kind of what I was gonna dive into. I said not horrible, not the worst thing I've ever seen, but kind of sloppy. It just kind of it got that vibe from just the attack on the stage and the opening bell. I thought the outside dive was pretty good, but other than that, I said a little uneventful. I said adequate selling from Chigusa, so
Yeah.
that was a positive. I did find positives in the match, but uh, yeah, overall, not the worst thing I've ever seen. That being my first exposure isn't ideal. I mean, match wise. Now, aura wise, I mean that was pretty great. I'm not gonna lie
Yeah,
to
I
you.
mean,
That was
the
pretty
thing
great.
is, Reggie Bennett also a good worker. Like she does end
Yeah,
up
she's
getting
actually
really
really
good.
sick.
Um, but again, like I do think Bozilla is a good comparison to Reggie Bennett, because
Appreciate
like
that.
Bozilla's best stuff is really fucking good. Like it's great, but like there's a certain like
They're close. Reggie's just a little bit better.
yeah, no, I would agree, but there's a certain like negative groove they can get
Hmm.
into in some of their like less notable matches where it's like, oh, this just isn't like if she doesn't care a lot, it's usually kind of shit. She cared a lot here. It was just a fucking weird. Honestly, not to be a conspiracy theorist, but I do know that AJW felt burned by Chigusa creating Gaia Japan,
Yeah.
and this was one of her last matches in AJW ever.
Hmm.
I think she came back for the 30th anniversary for like a battle royal or something, or
Hmm.
maybe maybe a singles match. But she only came back twice actually. She tagged in a tournament with Saka Hirota a couple years later, and then she was in like the 30th anniversary years later. So I have heard that like Chigusa felt or that the bridge was kind of burnt temporarily here between the two. So it's like I feel like maybe the match quality kind of reflected that in a way. Maybe AJW was like, okay, now go smash her and make her look bad and sandbag her. But even then, it's like I don't think those were the issues. I think it just didn't click. You know, what I mean, I think it just was not like a match that I just don't think they had chemistry. I don't think they really. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but it just didn't click at all. And like I said, one of Nagayo's last AJW matches ever, she was crying backstage, likely knowing that was one of her last matches with AJW ever.
Hmm.
And yeah, definitely weaker than most of either woman's catalog. Uh, and one of those matches where you see on paper, it's like that's weird. That's a weird match. I got to see that, and then you watch it, and it's like, yeah, I get why that was weird. Like I get I get why I was
Hmm.
questioning that, except it ends up being in a negative way than a positive way. Morbid curiosity kills the cat here. But Xavier, how you feel?
My first note is they should have did Crush Gals versus Reggie and Jesse Bennett. That's a
Fucking
deep cut for No Limit
Bionic
listeners.
J.
Yeah, shouts out my go. Chigusa running the blade before the bell even rings is proper psycho behavior. I think more wrestlers should do that. Even in like matches that don't need blood, just run the fucking blade before the bell rings. Just,
Mm.
well, I need somebody on a New Japan house show making their entrance running the blade.
Hanma,
But
I know Hanma can do that. I know that
brother, I think if
fucker's
you just
down.
poke his forehead, he'll just start gushing like a fountain. Um, Chigusa selling to start off this is tremendous, though.
Yeah,
I will say that she's acting like she's dying multiple times. I love the full Nelson with the body scissors from Reggie. Reggie's style of working, as far as a power wrestler, is like completely gone. It's gone. Um, I know we just had the Bozilla comparison, and I just said if Bozilla watched Reggie Bennett tapes, I think her perspective on pro wrestling would change, and she'd get to rocking again. Just because I think Reggie, she was more so, and this is crazy to say, but I mean, she was in Arshion, so it makes a lot of sense. She was very heavy handed on not only the power style, but the shoot style of pro wrestling.
Mm.
Um, and
She
I
was in
think
there
that's
training with Minoru Suzuki. Like,
yeah, yeah, and I think that's just super fascinating. That what if this giant could also just take you to the ground and tie you up and have you at their mercy at any given point? I think that is just a fascinating, refreshing style from a bigger pro wrestler that we just don't really get in the Joshi scene, unless we can find some super gigantic woman and send her to go train with Minoru Suzuki and Kazushi Sakuraba. Um, the roll up finish that led to Chigusa cutting the promo was incredible. I As soon as the finish happened, I was like, bro, some fuck shit's about to happen. Let's sit here and lock in. And then the promo happens and she's all fired up. I was like, hell yeah, this is what's up, bro. Yeah, man. It this whole show, both confirmed and not confirmed, is definitely filled with its controversies
yeah,
behind. the scenes as far as a lot of the stuff that unfolds throughout this show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think when a lot of people like think of peak AJW, kind of
They
like this
only
is.
think about like the good times
I
for the
think,
most
but I
part.
also think this is kind of like their, and this is a crazy comparison. It's kind of like their WrestleMania 17, where
Ah, yeah, yeah.
and Chris, I think you would get this reference pretty well as well, where it's like WrestleMania 17 was a good show. Many say one of the best ever, but it
Yeah.
also kind of felt like, oh, this is never gonna happen again.
Hmm.
Like this
This is the end
Agree
feeling
of
with
an
that.
era.
this
Yeah.
feeling isn't gonna come back. Um, and while there are obviously great matches in '95 and '96, um, and I think this is a better point to even make later when we talk about Kira Hokuto.
Hmm.
Um, it's that was just kind of the feeling here is that it's like it's just not things are going to be changing soon. Things are going to be different. 95 saw the creation of several companies. 96 saw more. 97 saw even
Hmm.
more. And it's like this is the end of like that vibe. And Chigusa was one of those instances. Like I said, she doesn't come back. She comes back to lose in a tag match with one of her juniors a couple years later, but that's it. So it is kind of like a bittersweet instance, where it's like just like you said, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that definitely kind of contributed to this being the end of an era for AJW. But Chris, I know I cut you off. I don't know if you had anything more to say about this match before we move on.
No. I mean, the WrestleMania 17 comparison kind of puts it more in perspective for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a weird feeling around it. That's what I put in my notes. Yeah, especially like I wrote that the finish felt weird to me with
The
the
finish was
roll
very
up.
weird.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
Finishes back in the day were weird, but this one was like, oh, that was not
Hmm.
yeah.
wasn't positive.
Yeah, I was a little taken back, a little like, oh, was that supposed to happen? Is that what are we doing here? But yeah, no, I mean, I think you touched on it pretty well. I don't
Okay.
really have anything to add.
Then we will move on to another meaty match. It was Big Mikiko Futagami and Shinobu Kandori from LLPW taking on Tomoka Watanabe and Toshio Yamada of AJW. Team LLPW won this match. Gami and Kandori, two legends of this business, two of the best grapplers, the best. Gami, Gami's an interesting case, but very good grapplers here. And I thought that the real story of the match ultimately was, first of all, Yamada and Kandori
Yep.
definitely should have been in fucking V Top. Like I think if you were to name any two wrestlers that were like, that's weird that they're not in it. It's Kandori and Yamada
You know,
and Kudo, but
ultimately, I think the reason they're both not in is simply Kandori. I think
oh
with
yeah,
Kandori not in there, they're like, okay, we got to just put her opposite Yamada.
yeah, and I think Yamada is that you know um that player that you can really slot in anywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
She was one of the best workers of the time, one of the
She
coolest.
she is as real as it comes, but just fake enough to where Kandori's ego is properly
Yeah,
satisfied.
and Yamada was always very giving, just a
Yeah,
very
yeah,
a very
yeah.
unselfish wrestler. One of those wrestlers that you kind of wish would have been a bit more selfish in certain
Hmm.
instances, because she was routinely kind of getting passed up
Hmm.
by others, and but she was just really fucking good all the time. And I think this match really showed that. I think her and Kandori, um, up until this point, stole the show.
Hmm.
Honestly,
Oh,
like
for
their
sure.
interactions, their exchanges, like just the energy
The
behind
crowd
both
was
them and the
hot.
crowd, there was just something there. You know what I mean? Chris, I'll go to you first and uh, tell me how you're feeling about this match. Which again, you don't know anybody in this match, but you know. Shinobu Kandori, for context, I think is the most important person to give context to. Um, in the pink and in the purple and black, uh, one of the most legit wrestlers of all time. She was a was she an Olympian, a judoka Olympian, or she was a world champion? Oh no. You know what? Actually, I remember. She's one of my favorite wrestlers ever. I don't know how I forgot this. Shinobu Kandori was a world champion judoka who was so good at judo that she eventually quit because they didn't have an Olympics for it yet.
Yeah.
Women,
Oh
women's
wow.
judo women's judo didn't have an Olympics until '92. My niece is
Jeez.
crying in the background. I apologize.
No, you're good.
They didn't have a Olympics event until 1992, And Kandori felt that she was so good at judo that unless they created one
Mhm.
years prior, she didn't really want to do it anymore. Like she wanted to be the goat of something else that she can go, be the worldwide goat of. And so in the 80s, she started wrestling, and she shot on the most legendary wrestler in Joshi history.
Yeah.
Um,
And she
and
maintains till this day, I was not in the wrong.
yeah,
I
she
promise.
brutalized her. So before Chigusa Nagayo, who we just kind of said was,
Yeah.
like the star of the 80s, Jackie Sato in the 1970s was like God. Like
And
she
if you
created women's wrestling.
if you go back and watch her matches, it's not an exaggeration. Jackie Sato for that time, and even now, because it still holds up, absolutely sensational. By far the
Yeah.
best.
And she was like co-signed by like Mildred Burke.
Yeah.
Like she was like
Yeah.
co-signed by like these like really influential, important wrestlers. And she was forced to retire in the 70s, and she decided, you know what, I'm going to start my own company in the 80s. And she was like, Kandori wants to
She
come
founded
visit.
JWP.
Yeah, she
For
found
people,
JWP.
which is now Pure J. That was founded by Jackie Sato.
Yeah,
And
and then a
while
bunch of
Dylan's
other
building this
wrestlers.
up, I need to express to y'all while Dylan is telling the story to build this up. Shinobu Kandori is 4-1-0 in pro MMA fights. Continue.
Yeah. And those happened after too. Like she was
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Um,
Not even her prime.
and so in the 80s, she decided to become a pro wrestler, and she joined JWP in the 80s. And I remember, and Jackie Sato, Shinobu Kandori got hurt. This is Kandori's side of the story.
Hmm.
I don't know Jackie Sato's because unfortunately she has passed. But
Hmm.
Shinobu Kandori said that she got hurt. She hurt her ribs, and she took the weekend off. And Jackie Sato demeaned her and degraded her and said, "This is not how they would do it in AJW,
Hmm.
and you're the reason why we'll never be a competitor with them." And so Shinobu Kandori felt that that was reason enough to
Hmm.
beat the fuck out of her, and end her career
Oh,
in '87. Um,
Jesus.
yeah, so she in the ring just fucking killed her. Uh, Not literally. Jackie Sato died a decade and a half later,
Hmm.
but that happened, and then JWP clearly there were some people on Jackie's side, some people on Kandori's side. Eventually split into LPW and JWP,
Hmm.
and now Kandori is known as like one of the most psychotic and legendary and legitimate wrestlers to ever live. Um, all of that to say, she's fucking cool as shit, and that's
Yeah.
that's that's why like there's so much energy behind her when the crowd is involved. You know what I mean? When she gets in there with like Yamada, who kicks the shit out of you and kills you as well. Um, there's that like vibe of danger. You
It's
kind of
funny
feel
that
that.
as you were telling the story, I pulled up the English translation of her Bull interview where she talks about it.
Yeah, yeah. That's the big one was the Bull interview where she was like, "They told me I was weak, and I showed them I wasn't weak." I was like, "You can't."
Well, and she
Jeez.
basically said that Sato was more than a willing participant. Like she was trying to fight Kendori as much as Kendori wanted to fight her, and Kendori was just like, "I just got a bit carried away. I'm not gonna lie. This is it.
A bit carried away. Um, but yeah, all that's to say, Shinobu Kendori is awesome.
Badass."
Not a bad person, but sick,
She's a
sick wrestler.
Democrat now. Democrat now, in case you don't know, Chris. Yeah,
There you go.
she still has LOPWX. They kind
Oh
of
no,
exist. They kind of
wait,
exist.
wait. Did you call her a Democrat? No, she's a conservative politician in Japan.
No, I'm just going by what is off of Google.
She's Lib Dem, which is
Yeah,
conservative.
no, Liberal Democratic Party. Yeah,
Very fun. Yeah, she's a conservative politician, in Japan now,
yeah,
and yes, kind of a psychotic wrestler.
Quite the
yeah,
switch up. Quite the
Yeah.
switch up.
yeah.
But and the finish of the match kind of like further presents Kandori as like that big dog where it's like
Yeah.
Kandori's Fujiwara, which is her armbar finish that she
Hmm.
used to put down Yamada. One of the most simple yet effective finishes in wrestling. I love it so
Hmm.
much. We saw it in excuse me. We saw it in Marigold last year.
Hmm.
She got Naoshikawa in a Fujiwara, and it was like, that's terrifying. She's gonna kill her. And that was always kind of the vibe around Kandori. So we've talked a lot about Kandori specifically. I thought the match itself was great, but I'm gonna let Chris kind of,
Yeah.
with that context of who Shinobu Kandori is, kind of give some thoughts.
So that was going to be my question. So I'm glad we touched on it.
Yeah.
I wrote down that this match was also another one that I felt hit that second gear.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
said the opening stretch with Kendori and Yamada. I wrote holy shit because it was just you
The
could
vibes.
yeah, I said at the beginning how I didn't like feel like I was missing context, but I will say this is a moment where I was kind of taken back from the crowd, so being into it, I was like, oh, these two are legit. I mean,
Yeah.
so I made a note of that. Some of the kicks, like you guys mentioned, and the boots to the face were just. I mean nice. I mean they looked brutal. Um, and like you said, Fujiwara, I'm a sucker for the Fujiwara, so I'm in agreement there. Uh, yeah. Not to downplay the other two women in the match, but I definitely became fans of both of those women coming
Yeah,
out of
no,
this.
that's the thing. Like I said, I mean, if we're looking at the V top, it's like it's mostly main eventers, or it's meant for main eventers. And
Hmm.
Kandori and Yamada were the two that felt like they were missing,
Hmm.
because they were big deals. They were super protected. They no, not even super protected. Yamada lost all the time. They were super, beloved by fans, and it
Hmm.
feels like if you put them in there, they wouldn't feel out of place because they were such big deals. And this was one of like two times that they ever wrestled, like
Hmm.
got in the ring at all. Which is nature of the interpromotional stuff, is that it's like
Yeah.
some wrestlers just never interacted, and these are two wrestlers that really didn't. I think they
Hmm.
had one tag match on a house show like months prior, but yeah, I loved their stuff here together. I feel like if we couldn't have gotten them in V top, I'm happy we got a match between them at
Yeah.
least, because that was really worth it. And I think Gami wasn't particularly strong here. She did well enough. I did think Watanabe did some cool stuff.
Yeah.
She got her screwdriver, the Cannonball Buster,
Hmm.
which is always a nasty one. And I felt like they were good enough supporting acts to the main event, which was Kandori and Yamada.
I think
Xavier?
you put that a lot better than what I put. Yeah, I think yeah, I would agree.
Xavier.
Yamada and Kandori restored the shooter feeling after those challenge matches earlier. Um, like, imagine if two of the hardest hitting badasses went at each other with pure hate in their hearts. That's what basically the ethos of Kandori and Yamada is in this match. Um, and like this is one of those matches I already alluded to it whenever we talked about why the match was what it was. They really highlighted how much Kandori despised looking weak in any instance. Like
Yeah.
any little glimmer until Yamada got her with a few good ones later in the match, she was just immediately back. I was like, nope, not doing that. Like Yamada took an inch and she took a mile. That's basically Kandori ball. I mean, she played ball with Yamada enough to make her look good, but it happened much later in the match. It was probably like a 70-30 split. I also have here in my notes Gami, a big Rhea Ripley fan, as she went into the future to take her finisher. Um, Cannonball Buster by Tomoka was obviously disgusting. Dropped Gami on her dome. Crowd was electric for all the Yamada and Kandori stuff. Yamada missed a diving Enziguri, so she got up and kicked Kandori in the head. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Yamada's so sick. He said, all right,
Yeah.
bro. Sorry, bro. This is what we're not going to do.
Yeah,
Miss, bro.
I feel like it was so funny because like someone like Fudagami, who
Yeah,
Chris now Mikiko Fudagami is a very infamous figure in Joshi wrestling, because she currently runs what was the coolest indie in Joshi, and
I disagree, but continue.
is now fucking lame as shit, and she's a terrible booker. And Gami, please stop, Gami. Please stop booking wrestling like that, Gami. You're making me upset. Besides the point, I really like Wave, but very much like a technical wrestler. So a lot of this match kind of like had the vibe behind it. So someone like a Fudagami kind of gets left behind because she's more of a chess match wrestler, if
Hmm.
that makes sense. So when Big T can come in and just fucking kill you with a screwdriver. Gami doesn't really have
Gami
that.
doesn't have that in her bag.
She doesn't have that in her bag. So I'm assuming, just judging by your kind of perspective on it, I imagine Futagami probably the least impressive of this match, but there's a very specific reason. I think you would like Mikiko Futagami, truthfully, Chris, just stylistically, but this match wasn't her match, clearly.
Okay.
That's fair.
With that being said, I'm surprised now that you mentioned it. The inverted Fujiwara armbar that Kendori locked in was so sick.
Oh shit! Yeah.
She did the traditional one to win, but she did an inverted version before that, and it was so sick. And I need somebody to steal that.
Good call.
Everybody, like that's the thing. I had this argument with Alex that's like not everybody can be Shinobu Kandori, but more people
Could.
definitely should steal from Shinobu Kandori. Like just
You could just get good at shooting on people.
I don't know. Maybe it's what Hanan.
I mean, Hideki Suzuki tried to be Shinobu Kandori in a sense, not like the shooting on people part, but he tried not losing to people.
If Hanan wrestles for 15 more years, like in 10 years, she's definitely Kandoriing some motherfuckers. Like she has the judo behind her.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I don't know that girl.
Oh, I mean, Kandori could just be like 2024 Katsuhiko Nakajima.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually a good comp, unfortunately. But Kandori had motion. Kandori,
no, it's fair.
That's the problem. Next match.
Yes, sir.
The UWA Women's World Tag Team Championships on the line. Tsuka Mita and Mima Shimoda of Las Cachorras Orientales.
Yeah. Which, Chris, if you do not know, it originally was a trio with them and Akira Hokuto. Eventually, it just became synonymous with just Mita and Mima because they teamed basically all the way until Mita retired.
Yeah, like in 2009.
And the translation, as I've stated on the show before, is, and they got this in Mexico, so keep that in mind.
Okay.
It also, in case you didn't know, Naito's eye. I got to build up the heat. Naito's eye thing he got in Mexico because they were making fun of his eyes. It is the Oriental Bitches. So that's their name. That is the translation to them.
There we go.
Yeah. And yeah, it's Hokuto's trio that they became the tag team, or were great at tag team. They faced and defeated Michiko Nagashima and Yasha Kurenai of LLPW fame, and close personal friends of Mai Sakura. That's true.
Shouts out.
Yeah, this match was one between people who would become fucking killers, like who would kill people for fun. That was kind of like their gimmick. They became super, like, I kill you now. It's kind of funny. You won't hear me compare motherfuckers to Bruiser Brody very much. LCO,
they're close.
LCO's pretty fucking close. And they faced two people. Well, one person who her most famous moment is getting killed in like 10 seconds by Akira Hokuto, which is Yasha Kurenai. There's like 10 million views of Hokuto versus Kurenai, and Kurenai like flips her off, and then Hokuto breaks her neck. Just like fucking just drives her into the mat.
If there is a definitive tag team for the No Limit Wrestling show, it is probably LCO.
Yeah.
Simply for the fact Dylan champions Etsuko Mita really big. I champion Mima Shimoda really big. They're probably the definitive tag team of this show.
Yeah, they're awesome. And out of this match, the match was really cool. I did think that, the crowd kind of took it back a little bit, and I get it. It's a long show, and not every match can really inspire a lot of joy. But I did think that, like, at certain points, I was like, oh, they're just waiting for Yasha to do her stick shtick.
Yeah.
Which is, say that 10 times fast. So I did kind of like sense that, which was a bit of a bummer. But I did think that LCO was really cool. I think if they were able to do some of the brawling that they eventually became known for, probably would have made some of the early stuff go by a little bit quicker, make it a little bit more exciting. But overall, I thought the match was good, but not great. And yeah, I thought the atmosphere probably took it down a lot. But big pop for the Death Valley Bomb for the finish, which, again, sound like a broken record. Itsuko Mita created the Death Valley Bomb, and basically the Fireman's Carry as a finish in general, as a popular finish in wrestling. So there you go, John Cena. You're welcome.
Wow.
Because it wasn't like used like that beforehand. It was used as like an amateur fireman's carry, which is very different. But yeah, so uh, that was that match. Chris, how are you feeling about it?
I also kind of settled on good, not great. I said something felt like it was missing, and now that you mentioned the brawling, that kind of makes sense. I thought the weapon usage was pretty nice. I felt like not out of place, the opposite of out of place, like a good change,
Fitting.
a good dynamic to the show up to this point. So the brawling probably would have kind of coincided with that. I don't
Mm.
know. But yeah, I thought the introduction to LCO for me was pretty solid. I mean, I definitely want to check out more. If this is just the tip of the iceberg, I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
I yeah, for sure.
yeah. I was just reading an interview with Akira Hokuto and Bull Nakano, um, and Akira Hokuto kind of brought up that it's like her, Itsuko Mita, and Mima Shimoda were all kind of like considered dead on arrival in like 91, 92.
Hmm.
Uh, Hokuto had a attitude problem. Itsuko Mita just wasn't really clicking, and Mima Shimoda was like considered kind of past her prime, because she was Manami Toyo's first tag partner,
Hmm.
right? And so
Gotcha.
it's like, oh well, you're just not getting to where everybody else is. And so they basically sent them all to Mexico. Well, they sent Mita and Hokuto to Mexico, and they were like, if you also want to stay there, we don't really believe in you much.
Hmm.
Hokuto,
They
you're
are
not worth the
softly
bot.
firing them without saying it.
Yeah, they like soft fired two of them, and they were going to fire Shimoda. Like they were all kind of like on the verge of just being
Hmm.
completely cooked.
Yeah,
And
weird.
then they all, Hokuto and Mita came back as heels, and Mimishimoto joined them, and they became, eventually became one of the most iconic trios of all time and one of the best tag teams of all time. And so that's, yeah. I mean, there's so much LCO lore. There's so much that you like. There's so. I'll say some matches, but yeah, they're great. And this match was really, like you said, the tip of the iceberg for them overall, especially with how the atmosphere was. It felt a bit apathetic, all things considered. Xavier, did you have anything on this match? I think I
Yeah,
skipped
I
over you.
had quite a bit.
Okay.
All
Um,
right.
First of all, 1994 Mima Shimoda is the love of my life. I just want to get it out there off the rip. Um, Escamita is so sick. She broke an attempted pin on her by reaching up and choking her opponent. um,
She's
I,
beast.
yeah, bro. I think if you dropped LCO in the modern era, they'd just be the best tag team in the world. Like, I don't even think
Mm,
it's just a matter of them being a good heel team. It's just the intensity they bring, despite their differences in style, would just make them stand out even more in the modern day. Um, Yasha using a jumping Nadoa Toshi was sick. After that the double-handed chops to the chest, Mita couldn't disown Nagisa Nozaki if she really wanted to. Um, Mita made Nagashima tag Yasha and then brought Yasha in the ring to beat her ass. Yeah, yeah. I said Mima Shimoda, the greatest Joshi wrestler ever to wear purple and do the Tiger Suplex. Mita gets the
who?
win for LCO with a
Oh, okay.
great Death Valley bomb. I obviously there was something missing. I honestly think that LCO just needed better opposition. No offense to Nagashima and Yasha because I thought they were sick, but I think if they had a better tag team to work with, uh, we would have been looking at one of the best matches of the night. Maybe it all would have changed if it would have brawled like Dylan had proposed, but nevertheless, but fun little lore. Just to end off on, um, that trip to Mexico kind of changes Mima Shimoda's life because like she ended up whenever she was stopped working Japan, she just went and worked for CMLL, and by virtue of working with CML, she now just works for New Japan. So her almost being soft fired led to her just never not having a good job. So
Yeah, yeah. Mima Shimoda still works now. She she does all the backstage comments with New Japan wrestlers. So if you ever
yeah,
see them, um, she's around. She's
yeah,
on every Fantastica Mania tour
yeah.
as a
That's because
manager.
Be
Her and
when
Okamura, homies.
every time they used to send wrestlers to Mexico to CMLL, it'd be her and Okamura's responsibility to make sure they're all
Yeah,
good. So
she was like, she's Tia. She's Tia Mima.
yeah, Tia
Um,
Mima.
but yeah, so she is also very cool. But moving on. Oh yeah, in between this match and the next match, uh, there was an intermission, and it had a little exhibition thing
Mm-hmm,
between two
Yeah.
members of All India Women's Pro Wrestling.
mm-hmm.
Um, was bad. It was just them like kind of like figuring out how to do wrestling moves, and
Word.
All India Women's Pro Wrestling never took launched really, like it never got off the ground. Shocker, I know.
Shocker.
AJW had this weird like desire, like dream of basically doing what like WWE says they
Mm-hmm.
want to do, where they want to like ingrain everywhere, and they never do. They never did. It just was all every single time they're like,
Stardom
that
has that
seems
same
hard.
idea now. Like Bushi
Yeah,
Road is dead set on trying it.
every time they would try it, they'd be like, "Ooh, that seems hard," and our wrestlers are getting abused. What to do?
Wrestling
Eh,
companies being colonizers? What?
yeah, shocker. I know,
Shocking.
especially
Yeah.
yeah, the industry leader, like, what? No. Because AJW obviously the biggest women's promotion, but yeah, so that was silly. Um, and then disc three, which I probably should have said this. We all watched the DVD version that's uploaded
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube of this show. So disc three started with, and there was some footage here and there, didn't really go over, but I thought the footage from disc three was really cool because it started with an AJW hosted event. Um, it was a press event for the show, so it was kind of cool to see
Mm-hmm.
wrestlers kind of mingling and stuff. Like Bull Nakano and Alundra Blaze were
Yeah,
like just hanging out because Bull
it was
was
cool.
probably the only wrestler who knew any English.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know, like there was just some cool spots like that that I really appreciated. And it also served as a good opening, and it had the opening ceremony of the VTOP
Mm-hmm.
women's tournament that we would see later in the show. By the way, there was a belt there that was not the 3WA belt, in case anybody was wondering. It's not what the winner won. Just saying. Next
She
match.
was WCW Women's World Champion and CMLL Women's World Champion. You would have cheated anyway. Continue.
Whatever. This is old lore. This is old lore. We
Yeah.
we 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 did a draft at one point of the best women's wrestlers to never be world champion, and I picked Akira Hokuto first because she never won the world championship. And I was told I cheated.
He
Um,
did. She was CMLL Women's World Champion and WCW Women's World Champion. Therefore, he cheated.
Yeah, I get you. It's pretty fair.
oh wait, I'm silly. I forgot this was on the last disc. Doesn't matter. Next match: Lions Asuka and Yumi Ogura going to a 10-minute time limit draw against Bison Kimura and Jaguar Yokota. This is an exhibition match, and this, even though we've given a lot of expository details and context, this match probably deserves the most because all of these wrestlers were retired.
Yeah.
Um,
I
none of
did pick
them
up on that.
none of them
Yeah.
were active, and
Why did
all
I?
of them
Oh, never mind. I
all of
have
them were
what I
okay.
have on my first note. Everyone should watch Queen of Villains on Netflix, by the way, and I forgot. And then I
Yes.
was like, oh, Jagger and Oscar in the ring. My B.
Yeah, Elias Asuka and Jaguar Yokota. Um, another two of the greatest of all time. Jaguar Yokota basically trained everybody in the company.
Yep.
Um, at this point, certainly, she trained basically everybody, and Elias Asuka helped. And so this was a match that was kind of like, you know what, let's give some love to the wrestlers who came before us, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually led to three of them um, being a faction in AJW a year later, and
Mm-hmm.
then opening their own company. So thank you AJW for this exhibition match, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but Xavier, I'll start with you. How are you feeling? You obviously know these wrestlers, at least three of them,
Mm-hmm.
quite well. Give us some insight on the exhibition match. How you felt about it?
Seeing Linus Oscar before her like brawl heavy stage is just weird because
Yeah, because she
she's still super mobile and flexible to the point she can strike so quickly. It's just weird.
yeah, because it's after, it's like in the 90s, but she's
Yeah.
still
It's
not. Yeah,
after Crush, but not to the point where she just is gonna brawl because she's breaking down physically. It's the weird in between period. So
yeah, for sure.
also her gear is absurd, as you can see on the screen right now. I said this about everybody in this match except for Jagger. Everybody's kind of crazy here.
Yeah.
Bison Kimura is pretty sick. Somebody has to take Jagger's Tiger Driver, where she just goes into a spiked tombstone like immediately.
Yeah.
It's like super awesome. Chikagoto, I need you to watch this Linus Asuka Powerbomb Giant Swing for me real quick. Um, the vision has never been more clear in that regard. I just want to put that out there. Um, Assisted top rope gourd buster from Linus and Olga was kind of crazy. I don't know if I've seen that before. I really liked it
That shit
though.
was nasty.
Yeah, I
It
wouldn't
was
take it, but I
nasty.
liked it. The match ended as I felt it was hitting the next level, so that was pretty sad, but it was fun nevertheless.
And Chris, how are you feeling? Because again, like, uh, I have a lot of on three of these wrestlers, I have very long and opinionated, uh, views of. Yumi Ogura, I haven't really seen much of because she was kind of
Yeah, yeah, same.
she was just around. Um, but you coming in to this with fresh eyes, you've never seen their '80s stuff or Bison Kimura's early '90s stuff. How did you kind of come into this with fresh eyes? Obviously, it's only 10 minutes, but what do you get from it?
Yeah, I thought it was well done. My first note at the end was not enough Linus Oscar and Yokota.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
wanted, especially like you mentioned with the 10-minute draw. I was like, I also thought that it was just about to hit the second gear and
Yeah.
just kind of stopped abruptly. But I understood. Like I said, I gathered that they were all, not currently wrestling at that point. And
Mhm,
then when I did my research, I was like, oh. And then I figured out what we had already mentioned with the whole having to retire at 25, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, now, because they were all so mobile, and I was like, so why are these women retired? What, like, what's going on? What, I'm
nature
missing
of the
context
beast.
None of
here.
them wanted to, or two of them at least definitely didn't want to retire. I think Bison ultimately was like, yeah, I think I'm chill. And I don't know about Yumi again, but Jaguar and Asuka famously did not want to retire.
I definitely, yeah. If I take anything away, those two, I would definitely want to see more of their work.
Lucky for you, one of the greatest matches of all time, several of the greatest matches of all time, are Elias Asuka versus Jaguar Yokota in
For
some
sure.
way, shape, or form, and I will put you on. But yeah, I love this. As somebody who adores Linus Asuka and Jaguar Yokota specifically, I
Mhm,
was so happy to see them like they just seem so happy to be back, and they, like you said, just kind of they didn't miss a beat. Jaguar had like this aura about her. I know it's an overused phrase, but just watching her entrance felt like such
mhm,
a moment in time that's like, damn, she's coming back after it'd be 8 years, I believe,
mhm,
something like that. 8 years of not wrestling. She was the trainer for so long, and she was on commentary basically every show constantly. And
mhm.
just seeing her come back and seeing her immediately get in there and go at a fucking rapid pace, so cool, so exciting. Excuse me. Again, I'm burping a lot. Um, I, and then, like you said, I think Jaguar and Asuka specifically together was just so like, yeah, this is what we're supposed to be doing. We missed out on years of this. We should have been getting this entire time. And Bison Kimura, to her credit, one of my favorite tag wrestlers. One of those wrestlers that really flies under the radar. Her and Aja Kong were a tag team for a very long time as Jungle Jack, and they were great together. They were
Mhm.
some of my favorite work from Aja comes from that era of her and Bison as a team, and so it was cool to see her in
Yeah,
there.
Dylan hates Aja.
I don't hate Aja. How fucking dare you say that? Um, that's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous sentiment, but I think that Jungle Jack was awesome, and I think Bison Kimura also kind of came in and picked things up right where they left off. And yeah, I thought it was a treat. Super fun Oscar performance, especially. I wish it wasn't an exhibition, like we kind of said.
Mhm,
Wish it went longer. Wish it had a finish, but and I wish they were kind of looking for a finish. It felt like you could feel the exhibition to it. It was just kind of like wrestling to wrestle, and they weren't really like going in with a lot of tactics, so to speak. That was a
Oh
bit
yeah.
of a bummer, but I thought that the work itself was tremendous, and I'm really happy that it ended up leading to JD Star forming in '96, and what was it, Raijin Corps, Raijin Tai? They start a faction called, yeah, Raijin Corps.
really quick
Um,
for Chris, JD Star, It gets up, gets real bad, like as time goes on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we actually reviewed on the show one of the greatest title changes I've ever witnessed in Joshi
Jesus.
wrestling. Linus Asuka was one of the top champions of JD Star, and she just vacated the belt just because she didn't want to work there anymore. She didn't lose; she just didn't want to work there
She
anymore.
showed
So
up to
she,
the
yeah,
show.
she showed up to the show and said, "I'm vacating."
Like, it wasn't like she's like no showed. She was just like, oh yeah, by the way, fuck y'all, I'm out. At
Hmm.
the beginning of a show, and yeah, so what ends up happening is the three of them start a company. Bison Kimura like retires pretty much immediately,
Hmm.
like retires again, and then Jaguar Yokota, or I should say first, or no, Jaguar Yokota ends up retiring in '98 to become a mother, like to
Hmm.
have kids and stuff,
Got
and
She
it.
comes
then
back again, but yeah.
yeah, she came. I'll get to that. And then Linus Asuka left the company to be a freelancer, and so Jaguar Yokota ended up coming back to wrestling early 2000s. I want to say 2001, maybe 2002, and she still wrestles today. She's still
Hmm.
awesome.
Oh
She's
wow. Okay.
yeah, or yeah, 2003 she comes back and she still wrestles today. She's on Sarism often, actually. So
Yeah.
you will see her
All
at some point.
right.
But yeah, shouts out to the goats. And moving
We're
on.
bringing back JD Star
Yeah,
anyway.
fuck yeah. Next up, Blizzard Yuki defeated Mariki Yoshida in however long this match takes. I'm off the cage
1201.
match page. Thank you.
I have all the times.
Thank you. At 12:01, um, Blizzard Yuki won with a rolling senton, like a spinning,
Hmm.
a corkscrew senton rather. Yeah, this is the debut of Blizzard Yuki, who was the
Yep.
alter ego of Saki Hasegawa, who was a super, super. What's a good word for her? She was someone they saw a lot in, and
Hmm.
rightfully so. She was great,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
she was often an undercarder. She was an
Yeah.
undercarder for a lot of her career, and then around this point, they were like, okay, let's like really like give her something
Yeah.
cool. So they gave her the Blizzard Yuki gimmick, and
It was
her
a
and Mariki
manga.
Yoshida. Yeah, it was based off a manga,
Ah,
and
okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That
her
makes
and
more
Mariki
sense.
There
Yoshida
was
had a
even a
lot of
game
history.
for it. So
There was. I did not know that.
yeah.
That's awesome. I want to play it. Blizzard Yuki, yeah. So these two had a lot of history against each other. Not as Blizzard Yuki, but still. So they clearly were comfortable with each other,
Yeah.
and that kind of
They
informed the match.
very clearly wanted this Blizzard Yuki thing to go well, so they put her with Yoshida knowing she'd be comfortable.
Yeah. I think that's a good summation of it. But Xavier, how about you goes first? Give
Yeah,
some thoughts.
yeah, it's pretty quick. I watched this match actually once before a few years ago when I was making the
Mm,
Yoshida edit. I just didn't remember it until as I was watching. I was like, "Oh yeah, I did see this." But it's actually kind of nuts that Yoshida was this innovative just 6 years into her career at this stage. Her
mm,
grappling was super pristine. She was diving to the outside and utilizing the double jump a lot. She even hit a sick DDT off the middle ropes. It isn't done a day, and by that I mean like she climbed on the middle ropes like she was going for 10 punches in the corner and just DDT'd her out of the corner. Um, just Marika Yoshida, one of my favorites ever. She's the best. She lost the tumbleweed, but I think, and obviously this gimmick doesn't last long. It's not long for this world. Watching this match, Yoshida very much impressed a lot more than Blizzard Yuki did. It was pretty weird, but it was fun. It just went off the
mm.
walls a little bit here and there for me.
Yeah, I felt like Saki Hasegawa clearly was not used to wrestling under a hood yet.
Yeah,
Which happens. You got to adjust sometimes. But I think that might have
and I think she was just
taken her off
trying
step.
to decipher the differences between Blizzard Yuki and Saki Hasegawa. She was trying to work differently.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think she lost a few things in the process that maybe docked a point or two on this match, but not anything major. Chris, how are you feeling about this? Probably a weird one, just kind of without context. Like,
It
who the fuck is this
it
mass
was
homie?
very very weird and awkward to me. I like it. It's easy to see what they were going for. Like I get it. You want something to go over nice. You put it on a big show. In theory, it should work, but it definitely. I think a little part of it was where the match was placed on the card for
Mm,
sure. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, when you have this goal of putting her over to the audience, and I come out thinking the exact opposite. Not that I think she was bad, but that I ended up really enjoying Yoshida a lot more. It
Mm.
was like the opposite effect, I guess. And I appreciate the senton finish. It just, I don't know, in context it kind of fell flat to me.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I thought it was fine. I mean, I won't call it bad by any means. I would use the
Yeah,
word
no,
fine.
yeah, it
I
wasn't
think that's
bad. It
fair.
was just weird.
Yeah, I ultimately agree. I think Saki Asagawa was a lot better without the gimmick, and she ends up getting hurt and has to retire by the end of '95. Unfortunately, another big what if uh, in Joshi history in the Joshi '90s, because she was great, and I think she had a lot of upside and could have really helped AJW down the stretch.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I think, like I said, I've seen a lot of Mariki Yoshida, and I called her Yuki in my notes, but I'm just gonna call her Hasegawa. I've seen a lot of Yoshida and Hasegawa over the years, and I think this was one of the weaker ones ultimately
Hmm.
because it just wasn't particularly crazy. Riki Yoshida was an interesting point here because she was still kind of in her Daredevil era, where she was like kind of in the vein of a Manami Toyota,
Yeah.
but she was also figuring out the technical stuff, how much she liked the technical stuff, where to place the technical stuff, so that when she eventually kind of started shedding the more Daredevil stuff, the technical stuff very naturally came into her game in the years to follow. So yeah, I like the match, but I would agree. I think it was pretty much fine. Like, I think fine was like
Hmm.
that's the right place to put it. Next up, we finally start the V-Top Women Tournament. Round one, it was Combat Toyota defeating Yumika Hoda
Here we
in
go.
16 minutes and 54 seconds. This is where me and Xavi butt heads because we already know how the other person feels about this match. For context, this was the first Big Egg match I've ever seen um, because my initial introduction into the classic Joshi stuff was with Megumi Kudo, and Megumi Kudo's best friend and tag team partner was Combat Toyota, so I became a big Combat Toyota fan. And this was one of those matches I watched and that initial binge I had of the old Joshi matches, and I loved it then. And unsurprisingly, I love it now. I still love it. I thought it was great. But Xavier, I know you have a slightly less favorable opinion on it. So how about you go first?
Yeah. Very. I just want to put this out there. Combat Toyota very much was supposed to be Megumi Kudo, but you know,
Yes. Yeah, again, like I think it literally says on the Wikipedia page that Combat Toyota was chosen over Megumi Kudo and Eagle Suwai was chosen over uh Shinobu Kandori.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so
That
like
just
that's
translates to they didn't want to lose like that.
yeah, yeah. Or their bosses didn't want to. In
Yeah.
in
I think
Kudo's
in
case,
Kudo's case, yeah, Onita just didn't want her to lose like that, or whoever was running FMW at the time, because this might have been one of the
it
six
was Onita
times.
still, I think.
Okay, I didn't know if this was one of the six times Onita left yet. Um, but I enjoyed Toyota putting her guard up with her forearms to try and block Hoda's kicks because that's just simply not done in wrestling anymore. Um, which I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people are just, I don't know. It's fascinating because from a match perspective, it doesn't make a lot of sense for most modern wrestlers to do that because they're just trying to put together a good match. But I think from a realism aspect, the attempt to try and block the kicks, even though you're failing, and Toyota didn't like succeed or anything. She very much failed in her attempts to block the kicks because like you could see her grimacing in pain every time Hoda connected with her forearms. But I think a little more resistance to just allowing moves to happen in wrestling would be really good. Um, but ultimately, I did think this was a tad bit boring for me. I thought Hoda did great work, but overall, it felt like the match was long and drawn out and really didn't have a lot of life until we got closer to the finish, and then the finish just kind of happened. And as, like I said, the theme for the whole night is people kicking out at 3.1, which is just a compromise back in the day for all these companies allowing top names to lose. Is okay, they'll lose, but we can't make it too definitive.
Yeah, so I just looked it up because I wanted to see, and actually, a week later, Onita debuted the Great Nita character. So I think
Ha!
in my head canon, he actually got that from Little Great Muda and not the actual Great Muda. He went in, he saw Little Frankie, he was like, I see.
Yeah.
I think this works. I think that's how that's the headcanon now. Yeah, I feel the opposite. I felt like this match was one of my favorites of the tournament. I I felt like I would agree. I think Yumika Hoda had like one of those showings that was stronger than Combat Toyota's, but I also felt like Combat Toyota had this had a reaction, like
Hmm.
a reactionary style here, where it's like Hoda was kicking her in the head. And so
Hmm.
Toyota's like, you know what? I'm doing leg work. Don't give a fuck. I'm breaking your leg. I don't want to do this. Don't want to get kicked in the head again. I'm taking out your leg. I felt like that was like one of those simple but effective tactics to kind of like get you like make sense of the early going of a 17-minute match, and then as things went on, it felt more and more heated. Um, from little spots they would do, Hoda just talking shit as she gets put in a figure four. Like she's in a figure four and she's just like fucking screaming at her, just yelling at her, being an asshole. Thought that was awesome. And I just generally I appreciated that Toyota had a bit of an underdog vibe here, despite being the power wrestler. And you know, you look at FMW, that was kind of a lot of what Combat Toyota was known for. Is despite being this powerhouse, she was very often the baby face
Hmm.
against Mad Dog Military. You know what I mean? So she very often was put into this role of, despite being a powerful powerhouse wrestler who can really just like you know tear you apart, she oftentimes finds herself on the you know on not having the upper hand. So I liked getting to see that here with Hoda, and I like Hoda as much as Hoda's a great babyface, and you see that in matches against Aja, for example. She's really good at just being an asshole, at just being kind of a bully, and I felt like we got a good version of that here. You know what I mean? Caribbean Splash off the top, which is the straight jacket German, was as
Hmm.
gnarly as you'll ever see a move be. That shit was disgusting, and I thought the finish was a bit underwhelming ultimately, but I appreciated it in a way because it was Hoda just like too getting too aggressive, getting too, in on it, and then the ref kind of pushes her back a little bit, and then Toyota gets the flash German and wins with it. Like I think that worked for me because I kind of understood the story that they were doing here, where it's like, okay, Hoda is going to be this bully who just keeps trying to knock Toyota out. And then when she thinks that she just needs to keep going, she just needs to like, get the ref out of the way and start pummeling her again. Toyota just out of nowhere kind of like gets that last burst of energy and wins the match with it. I do think that ultimately the finish was a political one. Like I think it would have been cooler if either combat won with like a roll up instead, or if combat just actually got the solid pinfall. I think the roll up not happening was probably because they were like, we want combat to win with an actual move. But I think the 3.1 happened because Hoda didn't want to lose properly. So that ultimately ends up happening like that with the politics. But I really loved the match overall. I was really happy with it. Uh, Chris, I imagine you might be somewhere in the middle, or maybe you hated it. I don't know. How do you feel about this one?
You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you.
Okay, for some reason the microphone was being weird. Okay. Kind of in the middle, more towards I didn't like it,
Okay.
to be quite honest with
Yeah,
you.
fuck Dylan.
But um I will say, I guess what I wrote down. I said the opening stretch felt weirdly paced to me. Um it felt I
Okay, now I can't hear you if you're talking. Chris's microphone might have broken, but I don't know, bro. Uh,
That's fair.
I agree. I agree.
What,
I don't like
There
it's
you are.
to
hey.
I guess you said reactionary. That was probably a better word for it, but with that in mind, I also thought the middle stretch was a little awkward, boring. Yeah, that is kind of what I kind of
Damn.
the conclusion I drew. I thought their styles kind of contrasted well though.
Mm,
With Hoda kind of speeding it up with the strikes and Combat slowing it down with the holds. I thought that was well done, and I thought the closing stretch was pretty solid. But I also wrote protected finish, which you touched on the politics of it all. I definitely knew something was up with it,
Jesus.
but overall, I'd again probably call it fine.
Mm.
You don't
Not
have to be
not good or
nice.
great, but fine.
You can point at Dylan and
You can
say
be
it
nice.
sucked, and you just have to accept that it sucked.
Hello.
But that's okay.
Oh wait,
Oh motherfucker.
Chrissy, we can kind of hear you, but I don't think you can hear us. I think that's the
Yeah.
problem. Hold on. We had some technical difficulties there for a moment. Don't know how much of what Chris said got cut, because he had some microphone issues. But ultimately, if you can sum up Toyota versus Hoda in one sentence or less, how would you feel, uh, Chris?
I would call it fine. Not good, not great, but fine. I thought it was a nice introduction to both women. I came out liking Hoda a little more than Combat, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah. Said Dylan sucks. That's right, buddy.
Man. No, you know what? You need to watch Combat 2 versus Megumi Kudo, Combat's retirement match. Probably the greatest match of all time. That's you gotta watch that. But next up, we got another round one match. It was Akira Hokuto taking on Eagle Sawai of LLPW. Again, Eagle was definitely in there because Kandori was not. But it happens.
I just can't
Um,
believe this, bro.
you watch this match and you can definitely sense that it's like, okay, uh, this is what Hokuto's going to be doing tonight.
Yeah.
She's hurt going into the show because like she's just broken down. That's kind of 94, like
That's an
notoriously.
art imitates life story of the tournament.
Yeah, like Hokuto is very broken down by this point.
Yeah.
So you can kind of sense that, but also she needs to be the big hero who, overcomes the odds and overcomes the hardships. So she needs to get beaten down too.
Mhm.
So this was like kind of the middle ground of doing that. You get Eagle Sawai really dogging on her for the first chunk of this match, but the match only goes 11 minutes. Hokuto doesn't have to stay in there for too long, and she takes the punishment, but then she gets to get in, get out, and kind of prepare for the next match. That's kind of the story I saw here. I liked it. I liked what Eagle was able to do. I'm traditionally not a big fan of Eagle Sawai. Hot take. I've never been particularly crazy about her. Um, I will say she is a Shoe Pro Women's Grand Prize winner
You damn right she is.
alongside Linus Asuka and my goat Shark Tsuchiya, who's really bad at wrestling, by the way.
Better than the other two for sure.
Shark Tsuchiya famously not good at wrestling, but love her to death. Lovely person. Her dogs are cute.
Yeah.
All that good jazz. Um, yeah, so I generally am not crazy about Eagle Sawai, but I thought that she was able to do her job here. Like she did what she needed to do, which was just kind of like killing her. She got the Thunderfire power bomb 3 seconds into the match, crazy start, and I felt like Eagle was able to just kind of dominate early and get the pacing up to set up Hokuto's comeback, and it was very a flash comeback. It felt like Hokuto like really just like legitimately, I think her like third move of offense was the Northern Lights bomb, and then she won. Like that's cool. That's really cool. You know what I mean? Chris, do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Xavier, do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Y'all both muted at the same time. I was like, "Fuck, what do I do?" Um,
Well, I'm just waiting for the cue, brother. I know
but
what to
but
do.
yeah, I that's
Same.
pretty much my thoughts. I thought it was a good match. I didn't think it was anything special. I like this one less than the match before, but that's me. I know that's me. But Chrissy, how you feeling about that?
I kind of totally disagree with that with the last part there. I thought it was very solid.
His ass, buddy.
I came away thinking that I Swy not so much. I mean, like you said, I think you summed it up well with she did her job. The domination from her really played the matchup well, but the story of the match really was the selling from Akira and I thought she was amazing pretty much. There was nice crisp exchanges throughout for both of them. I felt like this was the first one, which I guess it probably was, but that kind of you knew the story of it. You knew Akira was fighting for out of retirement. I mean, and it definitely played into the desperation part of it. And
Mm.
she had a nice comeback stretch, and yeah, I mean, I came away thinking it was better than the last. I thought it was probably the first match that I would call great in my
Oh
opinion.
wow.
Um, but yeah, I mean that's probably all I have on it. I thought it was great.
Xavi, I
Yeah,
know
man.
you'll probably
Listen.
agree with. Yep.
Yeah. Eagle Sawai is sick. Don't listen to Dylan. She's sick. Um, Hokuto dismissed her, so Eagle Sawai immediately hit her with the Thunder Fire to try to get the win, and then started spamming Vader body attacks and lariats after Hokuto kicked out. And my hot take is I think Rocket should watch the Eagle Sawai tapes because they have the same similar awkwardness in their movements. But Eagle Sawai still a really sick hoss. The middle rope missile drop kick she did was kind of fire. I won't lie to you. Um, let's not talk about the German suplex botch. We'll just move on past that. Hokuto beat, and this is once again, I understand politics, but Hokuto should not hit Eagle Sawai with a Northern Lights power bomb or a Northern Lights bomb and Sawai kick out at 3.1. This is what should not be happening. I don't care what type of politics we're doing. If it was the Dangerous Queen bomb, sure, but she should not be kicking out at 3.1 to the Northern Lights. But
Yeah, Eagle,
yeah, no, continue.
Eagle has the ego. That's the thing ultimately. Like, 'cause she was one of the more tenured LPW wrestlers.
Yeah.
'Cause she was from original JWP. She wasn't good there either. Um, I think that's actually why I don't like her is because I saw like her more rookie
Original J.
stuff.
Oh yeah, because y'all watched the original
Yeah,
JWP.
and so I was like, oh, she just really never learned how to be like an exciting powerhouse. And I think she figured it out like here. Like I thought this was a good showing from her. I don't think it was bad by any means. And I think there are instances of her being a good powerhouse, but I think you kind of watch her early stuff and you watch her later stuff, and it's like, okay, she kind of like she learned what she needed to do to fill her role. She never really, you know, went beyond that, and it's kind of
Mhm.
annoying sometimes. Um, but yeah,
Well, I will have you know she's a four-time LOPW champion. So screw you,
so
buddy.
LPW championship barely existed. What are you talking about?
Shush.
When did
I
that
came
even
away
come out?
thinking she was pretty
Shush.
solid. I mean,
Yeah, you know,
She
I
was a
don't think she
four-time
was a
LLPW champion. That's all we need to know. She's the GOAT. Five-time LLPW six-man tag champion. Get eagled, buddy.
oh, you know what's funny? After this match, I was like, they really didn't have anybody from LPW on this card outside of Kandori, Gami, and Eagle. I was like, wonder what Harley Saito was doing. And Harley Saito 2 days later lost an LPW 6-man championship match. So
Yeah.
he was around. She could have worked. Um, she was also she was also in oh man, I should have written this down. Harley Saito. She was doing a crazy side quest around this time. She was in
The
Wrestle and
NBA.
Romance.
Oh my goodness.
She was working Wrestle and Romance stores.
Teru.
Yeah, she was working with Tenryu. Um, yeah, 2 weeks before this. So shouts out to Wrestle and Romance, big fan. Next up, we had Aja Kong defeating Manami Toyota in what is considered one of the greatest women's matches of all time. I didn't.
What?
I, d- I didn't agree. I don't know. I if you've ever heard me talk about retro Joshi, AJW, and all that stuff, you'll know that I'm not crazy about Aja and Toyota. I
As a
think
pairing.
as a pairing, I think there's not particularly good together. In fact, I think similarly for funnily enough, I think and this is why Xavi says I hate Aja Kong. I think Aja had both her best match against Toyota and against Hokuto before anybody starts watching Aja, which is in like '91. people usually start watching like Aja when she wins the red belt, but you will miss out on the best Toyota match and the best Akira Hokuto match because I think that this match was very good. I think the match was ultimately a very good match. I really appreciated what they were able to do here. I felt like Kong was bumping her ass off for Toyota, which is always cool. Like I think when Kong's really like giving a wrestler a lot,
Mhm.
I always find that really interesting. We see it with the Mako matches. I think the Mako matches are better, but we see it, where it's like sometimes she's really willing to like put you over. Um, and make you look like a real dominant and a real threat to her colossal like presence and overwhelming style. Like sometimes she can really like make you look great, and I thought that was kind of the story here. I thought that was like the biggest plus side to this match, but generally I thought that the match kind of came and went, and I was like, yeah, that was good, and I didn't feel the greatest of all time nods that it gets. Like you look at Cage Match, it's like I think it's the second highest rated women's match on
See,
Cage Match,
that's
singles match, because Thunder Queen Battle is ahead of it. But yeah, I think it's behind Mako and Io, which is also kind of a crazy. The greatest women's match of all time is kind of crazy. Tremendous match, but kind of crazy. But yeah, so I definitely don't think it was that, but I did think it was a very good match and a very, for its place in round one of the V Top after 20 or how many matches are we in? This is 15 matches in or something like
Mhm.
that. Like that's good. Like it was a very good match, like all things considered. But yeah, I watched and I was like, oh wow, greatest ever. Like really, greatest one?
Yeah.
That's insane. Chris, I know you generally agree with our sentiment here. Give your kind of perspective on it.
I mean, I'll stay positive at first and say it was probably the best match on the card so far. But yeah, I mean,
That's
I
fair.
I also did research and found the whole greatest match of all time moniker, and I also did not come out thinking that at all. I mean, it was a hot start. I like what Toyota was going for at the start, trying to quicken the pace and catch her off guard. I mean, you guys have already mentioned that they have history, which I did not know, but uh, yeah, I mean, Kong's just so amazing. I mean,
Mhm.
she's probably the biggest reason why I have this match as the match of the night so far because she's so good at everything. I mean, uh, Toyota, I have a comparison to get over, and I'm not sure what other people or you guys will think about it, but I feel similarly about her as I do to one Will Osprey in that her style, while reckless in the high spots, I enjoy it personally, but I could see where it gets her in trouble with the wrong opponent. I think I haven't watched any of these two other their other matches, but I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, like I said, now I'm trying. Now I'm falling into the negative, but to get back on track, it was great. I would call it great, but and I did like the finish. And like I said, I thought the ramp bump was pretty
Yeah, yeah.
crazy. Jesus Christ, that probably might have been the spot of the match for me. That got me out of my seat. I was taken back. And then right after she puts her on the ropes and then just charges her. I mean, again, if I had to summarize it, Kong is just so great, so incredibly great, and we'll talk. That'll probably be the sentiment for the entire night going forward, if I had to
Mm.
guess. But yeah, I thought she was really good here. She's definitely the reason why I have this match so high. But greatest match of all time is pretty crazy. And side note, I do not agree with the sentiment of Miko and Io. That I will not allow. That
Um,
that
What
is
that?
that is magic. That
Okay, okay.
that
Oh,
is
I like
magic.
my sentiment. Okay, yeah, fair, fair. That's I think Mako and Io's a more fitting, a more valid top match ever. I don't agree with it, but
That I agree
I
with.
think it makes more sense. Um, I know, like just speaking for Xavier, I know me and Xavier dislike Will Ospreay enough, especially Xavier dislike Will Ospreay enough to be like, I imagine Xavier might want to defend Manami Toyota a little bit, but
yeah,
I, I
listen,
generally
listen, listen.
I generally get your point, and I don't think you're far off. Go ahead, Xavier.
Not far off, but it's disrespectful to Manami Toyota to
That's
put her in the
like
same
it.
sentences. Listen, I got respect for a legend. Just because I do not hold her to the same pedestal that everybody else does, I won't allow her to be compared to the likes of Will Ospreay. I'll tell
Arguably
you.
MVP's worst take.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. It 100% is. Um,
Because I
that
mean, your
I don't
favorite
know if y'all
wrestler
saw. I don't
is
know if
Manami
anybody
Toyota.
listens to his podcast, but he did a podcast recently and he lied about the Intercontinental title tournament. He said he beat both Okada and Naito in that tournament. He did not. Yujiro was in that tournament. He beat him.
Well, he
That's how
also
I
said
know
that
this.
he's actually the reason why New Japan
Yeah.
decided maybe English people care. Which shit, if
No,
he
I
is,
mean
shouts out. I wouldn't be
the
surprised.
way he told the story, I believe it. But
Yeah,
he
love
basically
MVP.
just told them they should like stream that people want to see that. But
Yeah,
anyway, on as far as this match goes, I like the Toyota versus Aja match the following year with Toyota coming in as three
DW.
WA champion a lot more than this one. I'm kind of in the same boat as Dylan, is where they're not like my favorite pairing. Funnily enough, I have the same thing with Manami Toyota as I do a lot of people. Is where I just enjoy her a whole lot more in the tag setting, just
I think that's
because I
fair.
think
Yeah.
she really maximizes what she can do and what makes her special in a tag team setting, especially in the AJW tag setting where it's 2 out of 3 falls. I think a lot of her special talent that others see in her singles, I think, shine brightly in her tags. But Toyota does start this one hot, but it's very quickly swinging into the favor of Aja. I think Toyota just is super over aggressive to the point that Aja just kind of smacks her down the sides, like, all right, bro, calm down. I'm still in control. I'm still the champion. And I'll say this every time we review one of her matches. Aja's has one of my favorite pile drivers ever. I love it.
Mm.
So same with her at package pile driver. She does. I love it. And it's always a blessing anytime we get to watch Aja, especially when she was more mobile, because she is just tremendous. Um,
Yeah, she
I
wasn't bumping like this even like a couple years later.
Yeah, no. She figured out the formula a couple years later, but here she still has something to prove. And this entire night she did. Aja's so sick because Toyota is aggressively trying to rile her up by kicking her, and Aja calmly just kicks her twice, and the second one catches her in the face. Aja does a jackhammer variation from the top, which is pretty awesome. Toyota being in so much pain makes a lot of sense when you realize she's doing stuff like taking a running dominator on a hard stage 1994 style. um
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Chris. For context, Manami Toyota is now an alcoholic because she's in
Oh,
so much pain all the time. Which is
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
not like
that
it's
that's
really
crazy.
fucked up. Like it's not fun.
I'm not gonna call
Um,
her alcoholic like Dylan just did, but she does drink a lot.
don't make me sound bad like that.
She does say she drinks a lot.
Yeah.
I'll say that. um Manami Toyota pays homage to her hero Jey Uso with the splash from the top to the outside. um, Manami roll into the power bomb was fire. Shouts out to one of my favorite moves, which I'm glad is actually not done anymore because it's very dangerous. The victory star drop.
Yeah.
And Aja gets the win, and this match is just awesome. I love
Uh,
everything about it.
yeah.
It's
Aja's
awesome. It's not like my favorite of theirs, but it's still awesome. Shouts out to Aja Screwdriver. I don't know if it has a name. I think you were researching that.
I couldn't find it.
No.
But I will say Aja the closing the last stand for Aja where she hit a bonsai drop, a Hurricane, and then the Steiner screwdriver.
Mhm.
Just just shoot her with a gun at that point. Like, what are we doing? Like, she's dead. She's not getting up.
Mhm.
Shit, like it was just an insane sequence. I was like, she fucking massacred her. Goddamn. Yeah, great match, but not the greatest ever. Not the greatest on the card, in my opinion. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Next up, we have yet another. We have the last round one match of the V-Top Women's Tournament. It is Dynamite Kansai of JWP defeating Kyoko Inoue of AJW. They went a total of 17 minutes and 38 seconds. Wow, that's a
Yep.
lot longer than I remember. Yeah, I mean, stylistically, I always, when I first got into Retro Joshi, I kind of viewed them similarly because they both were power wrestlers who did the crucifix power bomb as their finish in some way. Kansai does a sit out and Kyoko
Die
doesn't.
Hard Kansai, baby.
Yeah, shouts out to Die Hard. But over time, I kind of realized that Dynamite Kansai is better in basically every way than Kyoko Inoue. Though I do think that their styles mixed quite well. And Chris, we talked briefly beforehand. I believe you had a similar take, so I'll let you, pick up where I'm leaving off and kind of give your thoughts on the match and stylistically how it worked for you.
Of course. Yeah, I thought the flow of the match really sold it for me. I came away liking both very much so. I mean, if I had, not that I have to choose, but if I had to choose Dynamite just a little more, um,
I think
I
Dynamite
thought,
also has the match later, which also helps her.
oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah,
I
we'll get
imagine.
on that. Yeah, we'll get on. But I thought in our way I wrote down infectious charisma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought like not to compare because this feels like racially motivated, but but nah, but
Go on.
but Mina, I
Okay.
thought
You know what?
yeah
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
I thought they were pretty comparable in my eyes for charisma. I thought
No, I thought
like
you were gonna. I thought you were gonna say something crazy, like.
no, it just like it seeps in the match, and it's just
I
it
get it.
takes over
Yeah,
in a very like in a good way.
it's an electric. Yeah,
Um,
Bro,
yeah.
my
She was.
yeah.
lungs hurt.
She was on she was on Survivor Series next year. Kyoko Noe. She was in the. She
All right,
yeah. Kyoko Noe was in WWE for a bit.
Yeah, she
I
was.
did not know that.
Yeah,
Should have got
which is
signed.
crazy.
Should have stayed there.
Yeah. Um.
I
Go
said
on.
good near falls on the first Splash Mountain, the Niagara Driver, really nice finishing stretch, and the Avalanche Splash Mountain. Good lord, yeah,
Yeah.
I really, if it's not clear, yeah, I very much enjoyed this match. Love both women coming out of it.
Yeah. If it goes without saying, both of those moves were invented by both of those wrestlers.
Yeah.
And also Kyoko Noe invented the uh Burning Hammer.
Oh wow.
Victory
Straight to
Okay.
Hammer.
die.
Yeah,
No, I'm
sure.
just kidding.
I forget what she called it, but she created it.
The
The
Kyoko
victory,
Hammer.
the Kyoko Hammer. Yeah, Victory Hammer.
I don't know something.
Um, yeah, no, I thought the match was quite good. Like I said, I think that like stylistically they kind of meshed pretty well, and they both hit their finishers quite early. Like they both hit both the Niagara Driver and the Splash Mountain. So
Mhm.
I was like, okay, we have a lot more match to go. I wonder where we're gonna go with it. And eventually you kind of start noticing that it's like, okay, we're gonna get the Avalanche Splash Mountain. That's a cool way to finish the match. Also love that Kansai Kansai is just really rabid with her kicks. Like the way she throws them, like just tempo wise, it's just very like uh, nasty. Like she swept the leg, was still on the ground, and then just booted her in the face. And I was like, you didn't have to do that. You could have waited until you got up and kicked her. Like she just goes at you at a very specific pace and tempo that I really appreciate. It really like makes every second of the match feel dangerous. I think that was more present in the Aja match than this one. I think that probably I like this match a fair bit, but I think the Aja match kind of took away from it low key because I think that one was such a great Kansai performance that this one I'm like, yeah, Dynamite Kansai was good. Let's talk about when she was great, type of thing. Did like the match, like I said, I thought it was quite good. One of the certainly not the weakest of the tournament, but yeah, I thought it was a fun one. Xavier, unless you didn't.
I am just gonna say this now.
Uh-oh.
Kyoko Inoue has never had an actively good performance in her life.
Jesus.
She, I can't say she's the most overrated because there's definitely people more overrated than her, but she has never actively been the good part of any of the matches that we have talked about that I have watched. I'm sure there's a lot of Kyoko Inoue fans out there. I am not one of them. I will tell you that right now. Okay. But to get into this match, I love Dynamite Kansai. Her versus Cutie Suzuki in the JWP Openweight Championship Tournament Final, and her versus Sakari Fukuoka from '97. Watch them, love them. I'm starting to believe, like I said, I have legitimately my second note is Kyoko Inoue is actively bad at singles matches. Her big things are being a good underdog, technician, crash test dummy, and you might get some power involved as well. But there's people on this card who do all of those things better and in a more interesting capacity. Like, and it doesn't help that she's facing Kansai, whose base style I just like a lot more, with the striking and being a way better powerhouse than Kyoko is. And it is weird because I do think Kyoko does have innovative and fun moves, but putting it all together for her is kind of eh. Um, I will say she was willing to risk it all for the love of the game, and she took that avalanche diehard Kansai. So, shouts out to her. Big Kansai moves on. I am so glad Kyoko Inoue didn't move on. Thank you.
So of the singles matches I've seen of Kyoko Inoue, one of her best is actually against Bison Kimura, in my opinion. It's from
Mm-hmm.
'92, I believe. Because yeah, I thought about because I was like I've seen a decent amount of Kyoko Inoue, mostly tags, but like I've seen a decent amount of her singles stuff, and I was like, has she had a really great singles match? I think that one was it, the Bison Kimura one. And I'm sure there are some ones later when but then again, she becomes kind of like more of a heavyweight type wrestler. Like she does more power stuff, and I don't think that lends itself to her like babyface style. So yeah, let's stop talking about Kyoko Noe. She had some upsides, but next up, we have Cutie Suzuki and Takako Inoue, Cutie Suzuki of JWP, Takako of AJW,
Mm-hmm.
versus Megumi Kudo of FMW and Hikari Fukuoka of JWP. This match, all of the matches had like had titles to them. This match was Mrs. Pro Wrestling because it was built on the fact that all these women are attractive. That's true.
Not,
That's
you know what?
I did
Fair.
not know
yeah.
Good
that,
luck.
but very
Hey,
fair.
They're
good
all
looks.
they're all like models. They all represented their companies as like on in photo shoots and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, yeah, they're all hot. I don't know. Let's just
All
throw
right.
them in there.
They're also
And they
just
did.
like four of the best workers I've ever
Yeah, four
seen. But
great wrestlers. Yeah,
yeah,
tremendous. Um,
but
yeah,
true.
I felt like this match was the only match where I was like, this feels like an AJW tag match,
Word?
which is crazy because most of the wrestlers aren't from
Not from
AJW.
AJW.
But I think this match, like just from a flow wise and just like the timing and everything felt the most like okay, yeah, this is like
Okay.
what you get out of a 1994 tag match in AJW. With that being said, I thought the match was very standout. I liked it a ton. I thought that you get a lot of like real venom from Takako and Cutie, especially because I think this was a period where all four of these women are eternal baby faces until Takako turns, obviously. But all four of
Mm-hmm.
these women are very clearly baby faces around this time. And so you get Takako and Cutie kind of getting to be a bit more heelish, a bit more,
Mm-hmm.
ruthless.
Mm-hmm.
And they really took that and ran with it. You know what I mean? They were, obviously Takako knees people in the
Mm-hmm.
face when she's about to tombstone them all the time. But
Mm-hmm.
just like I don't know. At certain points, I was like, I think they're gonna get mad. I don't. This feels. I'm scared. I'm worried about what
Well,
the fuck's about
Takako's
to happen.
just so much better at being a prick that
Yeah.
it was just foreshadowing the future.
Cause yeah, Takako just started like bitch slapping the fuck out of Fukuoka,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm pretty sure Fukuoka started sandbagging her and just like hitting back, and I was like, oh, that's.
God, I love Hikari Fukuoka
I'm
so
worried.
much.
Yeah, that like it was just really cool. Like I don't know. Just a lot of the sequences were really cool and very HW pilled ultimately. Kudo landed on her feet out of a back suplex, and then Cutie immediately blasted her with a missile dropkick.
Mhm.
Just timing wise, it was all like what you want from this era of tag wrestling. Because I think just historically, to this day, historically, tag wrestling in Joshi wrestling is better than singles wrestling.
For
Um,
sure.
it's just not always respected in that way. And so like you watch this match and it's like this is kind of what you want. This is like that bar. You know,
Mhm.
this is the zone that they get into. It's not maybe the greatest tag match you'll ever see, but it's definitely like in that zone of like this is a really fucking good tag match. Everything's clicking, everybody just kind of like going at it at a really fun pace, really good work all throughout.
Mhm.
And I really liked it. Xavier, I'll start with you. Give your take on the match. Who stood out to you? What were you feeling here?
Um, a lot of different things. I don't think there was anybody in particular. If I had to like pinpoint who I thought was like the MVP of the match, it's Takako, because Takako's just the greatest ever. Like I said, I love the Takako move that you alluded to, where she knees you in the face repeatedly and then tombstones you. Um, After Cutie and Takako worked over Kudo, I like when Kudo took back control and not only tried to fight both of them at the same time, but she also just put Takako in a camel clutch with the hair pull near her corner just so Hikari could come in and just grind her boot in her face. Because at this point they had Takako had already went and slapped Hikari and tried to, egg her on and all that. So Hikari Fukuoka's moonsault looks a lot like Io's because her gear is like a lot similar to Queen's Quest Io. So it just looked a lot like Io's. Hikari Fukuoka did the super freak in this match, which is crazy because Chigusa was on the card. The super freak is Chigusa Nagayo's variation of a gut wrench power bomb that has a very specific setup, and Hikari Fukuoka said, "Well, actually, it's mine."
Oh wow.
Beautiful backdrop hold from Takako. I do think this was one of the rougher Kudo performances in terms of the flow, because I thought the flow in which she did a lot of things were a little weird, but I still adored a lot of the stuff she busted out here. Fun last few minutes between her and Takako, as a matter of fact, and she got the win with the Tiger Driver.
Yeah, I was a bit bummed that we didn't get
Kaduna
the
Valentine.
yeah the Kudo driver, the vertebreaker, created by Megumi Kudo. That's another.
Was she using it at this stage yet?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. She started using it pretty early, I think. Maybe I'm.
Real demon.
Yeah, she was using it by Dream Slam, I'm pretty sure. So
Okay.
yeah. But Chris, how are you feeling about it?
I have nothing bad to say about anybody in the match. I thought the crowd could have given more
Yeah.
into it, but I
They've been
understand.
there. They're about to be there
Yeah,
for 10 hours, bro.
yeah, I understood.
17 matches in.
Yeah.
But other than that, all positive for me. I felt like, I don't know how to word this, but like it felt like it was a tag match with stakes, but not with stakes. Like
Hmm.
they were wrestling.
Wrestling with purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Super important. Yeah.
That is exactly, yeah, good way to word it. As he said, I don't really have a standout. I thought all the women in the match did really well, and probably, yeah, definitely my favorite tag match of the night.
All right,
Yeah,
man.
that's fair.
Don't worry, because we got a WWF Women's World Title match later on the night's gonna wake them up.
Oh, brother.
But first, we get on to Michinoku Pro having an offer match. It was Kai and Tai, Sato and Shiryu, and Great Sasuke defeating Grand Naniwa, Jinsei
That's not Kai
Shinzaki.
and Tai. Stop. Sasuke wasn't in Kai and Tai. Stop.
I said Kai and Tai and Great Sasuke.
You didn't, but I'll let you rock out. That's fine.
And Super Delphin. This went 21 minutes, which was way too long.
It was way
think that
too
was-
long
I
because
think
they
that was
did
my-
too much comedy, bro.
I was like, bro, why is this still like? I was enjoying it. Dick Togo with the fucking hair.
That's
Fucking
Sato,
great.
all caps, baby.
So the first note I wrote down was all of Xavier and I's favorite wrestlers are here. Dick Togo with hair, Kaz Hayashi under a fuck ass tiger mask, Jinsei Shinzaki doing the thing, and Taka Michinoku with a shitty little haircut. Like that's all I've ever wanted.
Bro, like I said, next forfeit draft, and he doesn't know this because I texted this and he's on vacation at Disney, but if we get Scott to lose this next draft forfeit, he's got to get this fuck ass Taka
He's got to get
Michinoku haircut.
He's got to get one of Taka Michinoku's haircuts because they're all bad.
Here
Yeah,
we
yeah, we got
go.
we
That's
got
He
the
he can get
awesome.
the Suzuki Gun one where he's bald but he has the Tyson Kidd hair.
oh yeah. Okay, so
It's
if
like
y'all are listening
bleached.
to this, y'all gotta be on our side next time we do a draft with him.
But yeah, no, I thought the match was like cool, but it was long. Like that was where I was like, yeah,
They
this
just did too much comedy. It wasn't like there obviously was some good stuff, but they just did too much comedy for like, and that's why I went almost 22 minutes because in at least like 11 of this was comedy.
yeah, no, and like I appreciated the comedy. I thought the comedy was
Yeah,
fairly funny, but yeah, it just kept going. Um, it's kind of crazy to think that like Dick Togo is like has been a beast for so long.
yeah,
It's like this
he's
was
just
awesome.
still he still has like one of my top 10 best matches of the year in 2025, and this
Yeah,
is
in DDT.
94.
Yeah. I mean, and Kaientai being unable to stop Jinsei from doing the rope walk because they low key fucked
Yeah,
with it. They're like, hey, he's got
hey,
motion. And
he's
it's
got
kind of
aura,
crazy
bro. We can't.
watching Jinsei in '94. He looks exactly the same
Yeah,
as he does now.
he's
So like
just jacked now,
like
like even more
he
jacked.
feels like he's like a legend in '94. He's been wrestling for like a year and a half,
Yeah,
but like he feels like he has like that presence of like, oh, like because at first I was like, oh, like um I don't know, it just felt weird like seeing Jinsei as a rookie because he never felt like a rookie.
yeah,
2 years isn't it depends on where you're at, but you get my point.
yeah,
um yeah, no, I thought that like the comedy spots were iconic. Some of them are ones you'll see like these days, like
yeah.
and
They're
people,
staples.
yeah,
Like
like people.
Shiryu might be the first one to do the Ranmaru spot where everybody jumps.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that and like I mean the fucking Bucks just stole the Grand Aniwa Super Delphin spot where you do the arm drape thing where
yeah,
you keep like the Bucks did that like and went viral for it like
yeah.
last year. So a lot of good comedy stuff. Great Sasuke getting in there and getting his shit in and winning in he was basically not in the match at all until the last
Hmm.
90 seconds. He has hit everything he had against Grand
Hmm.
Aniwa and won. I was like, shit, okay, why not? Why not? I kind of expected it. Chris, how are you feeling about this?
I said I enjoyed the comedy a lot. It didn't overstay its welcome. I just, like you guys said, I thought the match was a little too long,
Hmm.
especially on a card that this
Is
might have
long.
been. Yeah, I thought like it was like one of the longest matches on the card, and
It
that just
Hmm.
felt
was
a
the
little weird
longest
to
match on
me.
the card.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unless like the I don't know how long
No,
the amateur
it
wrestling.
was the longest.
I know, but the amateur wrestling challenge might have taken up more time because they
Yeah.
literally kept stopping.
Well, out of matches that matter to this show and us, um,
yeah.
but I guess that leaves me. If you knew nothing about the history of Michinoku Pro Wrestling, if I showed you this pre-match promo, you could probably tell me Sato's Dick Toko because there's only one guy in the history of ever built like this. This is a rare build that only one man can attain. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that Togo should ever have a full head of hair. I was watching, I was like, bro, I don't like this. He ain't got no facial hair either, so it's just making me mad.
looking real weird. Yeah,
Yeah,
look at him.
bro. With that being said, the Sato versus Jinsei minutes were healing me. They were real. Grand Naniwa, the first smart wrestler of all time, because he legitimately ran away bolted when Shiryu went to go dive on him.
Oh yeah, all of them did. That was
Yeah,
what was it? Oh, Super Delphin avoided getting dove on by hanging out with a white woman.
yeah. He was like,
He's
"Hey,
like out of the
I'm
ring.
chilling. I'm
He's like,
chilling."
hey, I'm just hanging out with her.
Yeah. Sato's the greatest ever because he was on a tear in this match.
Yeah.
Like I said, we already mentioned that. Sato made the entire other team just look stupid because he got them all to fight each other. um, and he also just out wrestled all of them at one time. Michinoku Pro had only been around for 2 years by this point, so they hadn't reached the heights they would. Obviously, the Lucharesu was there, but they were heavy on the comedy. It didn't become as the Lucharesu base didn't become as important as it would become when we got to the time that Kaientai DX would were rocking, and we had the big Kaientai DX versus Michinoku Pro Home Army feud and all that. With that being said, it's like it's cool for the time. It's probably revolutionary, to be honest. Because even then, I'm saying this as somebody who has seen the Kaientai DX, which me and you both have, but has seen the
Mhm.
Kaientai DX versus Kaientai Homar Misumo Hall match like that happens in a few years. At the time, this was probably crazy to people in attendance. So it's fine. It's a good little introduction to Michinoku Pro if you need one, but it's nothing near what you will get from Michinoku Pro showcases on any card in the incoming years, because this is only the start for guys like Sato, Shiryu, and basically everybody in this match. Like Jinsei goes and has a Fed run here in a bit, so
Yeah, unfortunately, this isn't the best big male match on a AJW show in the '90s because 4 years prior, Los Brazos faced Gran Hamada, Super Kendo, and Yoshiro Asai.
oh my god, that's probably
Fucking
so
crazy match. It
beast.
was so fucking good. I watched it a few
I
years ago.
love
And it
Los
was so
Brazos.
fucking good. Los Brazos are the best. Fucking Super Porky. He's the goat. Like legitimately, he's so cool.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, still good match. And like you said, Michinoku Pro, really cool. Next up, we finally get back to the V Top tournament for the semifinal match. It is Akira Hokuto facing off against Combat Toyota. Unfortunately,
You were so lucky.
this awesome ass gear, the beautiful pink gear, only got shown for like 5 minutes because this was a fucking car wreck that ended in 5 minutes and some
You
seconds.
are so lucky that Combat Toyota has this match because I would have called her the worst wrestler in the V top, but no, you were so
Yeah, you
lucky.
know what? Actually, I was confused. I went on like Cage Match,
Mhm.
and this is the lowest rated match in the V top.
Why?
I was like, this
That's
match fucking ruled.
crazy.
This was awesome. Like, I don't know what the
Yeah,
fuck you want
that's
from this.
crazy.
Like, I don't know. Like, it was like,
It was, bro. Okay, can I? Okay,
go ahead. No, y'all go
okay,
first.
yeah. So Toyota backdrops Hokuto like on her neck, followed by repeated single leg drop kicks to the face, and that just moved me. And then she just ragdolls her. She does that like one slam where like she holds her. She does like a one armed electric chair thing and just tosses her.
Oh, that's the
Um,
combat driver.
yeah. It's so sick. God. Um, like I said, Toyota played her role really well, and Hokuto I thought was willing to throw caution to the wind to make sure Toyota came across like a absolute beast. And obviously, this is playing into the story of Hokuto trying to see if she can still do this. Hokuto is just dead selling, obviously, and Toyota just makes history in this match by doing a sit out power bomb while still being on her feet. Never before done, probably will never be able to be done ever again. I saw that, I was like, there's just no way that happened. um Toyota absolutely misses the table completely, and then Hokuto just picks her up, beats her with the Northern Lights, and goes to the finals.
She didn't
This
miss it
is
completely. She landed on her tailbone and just like had to
Yeah,
be like,
that's
"Oh no,
scary.
oh no, oh no!" Like she didn't like.
she barely
It
clipped it,
was
bro. I'm not giving
she
her that,
no, but
bro.
she clipped it in like a nasty ass way. Like it was like I get what you mean because she didn't actually like fall on it, but she
Yeah.
clipped it and I was like, "Oh!" Like it hurt my butt. Like just watching it. Like I was like, "That doesn't
Well,
feel
that's a
good."
you problem, brother.
My bad. My bad.
But like, come on, bro. Hokuto looks at her and just picks her up and beats her,
You're
bro.
like,
This
ah.
this is awesome. Everybody on Cage Match are lying, bro.
This is also I kind of thought about this. Combat Toyota would have trained underneath Akira Hokuto because they were only a year apart. Because
Ah.
Combat Toyota and Megumi Kudo, for those who don't know, they trained in the AJW dojo
Mhm,
in 1986, but they were fired. Like they didn't make enough progress within their first year, so they were let go and they went to FMW instead.
mhm.
Um, and Hokuto was a '85 girl, so they definitely like had a little bit of history there. I don't know if it was love lost or not, but yeah, I'd love this match. Actually, Chris, you can go first. I don't want to hog the spotlight. How do you feel?
I will not offer a differing opinion entirely because I also love this match. I did not know. I didn't look at Cage Match's opinion on it. But
For the better.
yeah, I thought that in the context of the tournament, a lot of the tournament matches were longer. So the fact that this was short kind of worked for me. And I
Hmm.
thought the context of it worked really well. I thought that, yeah, combat just tossing her around and looking reckless and that car crash atmosphere really worked for me. Uh, the table spot. was pretty crazy. I didn't think like I saw some people say that the finish was flat. It worked for me. Like
No, that
I
was
thought
great.
I thought it worked well into the finish. I yeah. I came away thinking the match was great. So
Yeah, no,
I
I
really
oh, go ahead.
oh sorry. I was just gonna finish with again, I really liked Akira's selling, so
Yeah,
common
no, I
theme.
agree, dude. Her getting Mike Awesome out of the fucking ring into the guardrail just like it was nothing before Mike Awesome was even like a thing. Like that's insane. That shit
Mhm.
was. Why would you do that? Like who the fuck decided that was the idea? Like who? Like that's insane. Um, like I said, I loved Hokuto's gear here. I do wish that we got this gear for a longer match than a 5 minute one, but I loved every minute of this 5 minute match because like I don't know. Like I said, the start with combat just kind of fucking yoinking her with a military press out of the ring into the guardrail. Like this girl is hurt. She's the star of the entire show. She's the most important wrestler in the company. Why the fuck would you do that? Why would you do that? That's insane. That's an absurd thing to do. And then Hokuto gets back in the ring and Combat fucking whacks her with a table like to the head as hard as possible. Like why would you do that? What is happening? Like that was just my feeling the entire time. I was like, what the fuck is happening? This is insane. And then yeah, the Combat kind of like caught her caught her tailbone on the table that didn't break and it looked nasty as hell. And then Hook's just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm done. And yeah, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I obviously it was 5 minutes, so I get that it's like diminishing, not even diminishing returns, but
Mhm.
there's only so much you can get out of a 5 minute match. But I thought they got pretty much everything they could
For
out of it,
sure.
and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. Um, but without further ado, ho 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 ho.
Here we go.
Second semifinal match of the V Top Women's Tournament. Aja Kong defeated Dynamite Kansai in 12 minutes and 22 seconds. This was a rematch from one of my favorite matches I've ever seen from 1993 at Legacy of Queens. In fact, wait, what the fuck? In fact, that poster in the back behind the TV on this little art, that's Legacy of Queens right there, and you could see them on top of the poster.
Mhm.
Uh, Absolutely loved that match. Like I said, it's one of my favorites
Mhm.
ever. And this match, oh, this fucking match, man. This match. Wait. That's fine. Um, I'm gonna go first for this one actually because
Go
I
ahead.
really want to talk about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh, I felt like these two in particular work so well together, and this match was no different. It's, only 12 minutes, but they really went at it the entire time. These two work so well together because everything they do feels super consequential. We talked about that a little bit earlier with the tag match, the Mrs. Pro Wrestling or whatever. Um, when wrestling feels consequential, and when moves that you do feel like they are done with intention, it makes a good match great and a great match unforgettable. And I feel like Aja and Dynamite, especially against each other, were so good at doing that. Every single hold, like they didn't do that much that was like that insane until like the end when, Kansai was trying to kick her head off. But like every move, every hold they would do felt like it was them trying to get closer to a victory instead of them trying to pass time so they can continue the match, which sometimes is a failing of a lot of wrestlers. And we talked about it, how we had to watch that 60-minute match between Kyoko Inoue
Mhm.
and Manami Toyota. That's a perfect example of it. Just feels like they're constantly trying to find more things to fill the time. Whereas with Aja Kong and with Diamond Kansai, every move they do, even if it's a stalling move, quote unquote, there's a certain aggression, there's a certain attitude towards it, there's a certain flow to it. The way that they put it on, the way they do it, the way they put they and, the way they layer it, the way they sequence it, whatever. It feels like they
Yeah,
know
I
where they're
agree.
going. You know what I mean? It feels like we're always moving forward. We're always trying to get to the next point. There was a real urgency here. There's real forethought. And I felt like the knockout teases near the end were great. I'm always a big fan of knockout teases. It felt like the crowd was into it. The biggest pop of the night, I would say, was Kansai getting Aja up for the Splash Mountain and hitting it. Like that was like the biggest fucking moment of the show, it felt like. Um, and then, in the end, it was like them just lighting each other up, and Aja finally hitting the big one of her Hurricane. Again, same thing as I said earlier with Suzuki Minami. I want you to make it feel like you're putting more into it every time. Her last Hurricane was fucking weighted. Like she put her fucking everything into that. And that's what I need. I felt like this match just worked. It was great. Loved it. I feel like more wrestlers need to learn from Aja and Dynamite because they got it, and it's not even like they do that many moves. It's not like they're like super like, you know, they never do overkill. Like that's not their thing. They do relatively little, but everything they do has so much impact to it, and the story they put together in the match is so easy to digest, but also very satisfying once the finish and once the pinfall rings out. So yeah, love this match. Absolutely tremendous. Recommend anybody watch it. Chris, I'll go to you first. How are you feeling about this?
Well, if you didn't know how this match was gonna go, just watch the first 5 seconds of it when it rings. It's the back fist. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is how this is gonna go. And
Oh, I
just
love it.
touching on that, the whole work with the back fist was incredible. Like towards the end of the match, she blocks like two or three of them, and then finally hits it. And like you touched on at the closing stretch, just one after another, with the one becoming more significant than the last. I thought it worked really
Mm.
well. Um, you touched on it, purposeful. I really would describe that match as this. It just felt like both of them just like a heavyweight fight with them trying to top each other.
Mm.
Like, and in the tournament context, it works so well because they're gassed because they've already wrestled one match. So it's like you don't really get like this feel out process. You don't get this, sequence of like we're getting right to it, and I thought that was really well done. Um, the unguarded kicks to the face were brutal. Jesus Christ. Uh, when Dynamite lifts her up towards the end, I wrote down was incredible. Like she struggles at first, and you could
Hmm.
see the exhaustion on her. I thought that was really well done. Just you could feel like the raw emotion between the two. It was just amazing. Um, and yeah, like you said, beautiful finish. Yeah, this really worked for me. Kong, awesome. Dynamite, who I hadn't seen prior to this event, awesome. These two really clicked, and now that you say they always click, it just that in my mind makes sense.
Well, to be fair, I think they have matches in like the 2000s might not have clicked. Dynamite was broken down, but
Yeah.
That's fair.
generally, generally, I haven't seen all of them, but generally, yes, I think that's a fair assessment. Xavier, take it away.
Um, the media hurricane told me it was going to be a good one. um, I think Dynamite is performance wise my second favorite performer in the entirety of the V top.
Hmm.
Just based on output, at least she's tied. But her striking and limb work to wear Aja down is really something to behold. Um, I think Toyota earlier in the night did a great job in matching Aja in the intensity department, but there's something different about when Kansai does it. As someone who's also a power wrestler that's also well versed in strikes, it's just a different feel. Um, Kansai's comeback after escaping the falling elbow drop that Kong does, being to kick her in the back of the skull and then back of the face, is just the realest thing in all of wrestling. I love Dynamite Kansai. The tease of Aja about to lose via knockout was really good because the crowd were hooked when the 8 count happens and then the 9 count happens. Like, oh, it's gonna happen, and then Aja's like, nah, I'm good. Aja's attempt at a knockout was sick because it felt like she was getting desperate toward the end there, so she just wanted to finish it as quick as she could. And then Aja obviously got the win with the Hurricane Spam from Hell, basically, is what I have it as. I love this match, man. Like I said, now I just need to go watch all of their matches, even the ones that you said are bad and why Aja
Well,
Kong
I
will never
haven't seen
come
them.
on this
I
show.
haven't seen them.
So
Hey, ooh, I haven't seen them. I'm just saying that
Yeah,
it's possible that not all of them are great. Most of
that's
them are.
fair.
I've
Well,
seen
guess
like
what? We on this show we lie. We say it's
yeah,
great.
exactly. But as much as I would love to keep talking, we are 2 hours and 40 minutes into the show.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the summer main event. It was Alundra Blaze of the WWF defending the WWF Women's Championship, Women's Championship
Hmm.
against Bull Nakano. She lost the belt to Bull in 9 minutes and 29 seconds. This match wasn't very good. Um, I
No.
thought it was fine. Like I thought it was.
No.
I didn't hate it as much as these two did, but like I don't know what it was about about Alundra Blaze, but she just didn't click in Japan. Um, I've watched basically her entire run in Japan, and it just never really clicked for her there, which is unfortunate because like the following years, like I'd say 95 to
Mm.
97 in America, she was great.
Yeah.
Maybe
No.
like
Actively great.
she was great. Like her match against Hokuto in
WCW.
WCW '97 in that
Awesome.
Great American Batch. Yeah, we watched it. Me and you and Scott watched it last year, I think, and it
Yeah.
was great. And I was like, man, like Medusa's really underrated. But then you see
Yeah.
matches like this. You see matches like her versus Aja from 1990 from Survival Shout.
Oh
Um,
Lord.
really bad match. Um, you see her versus like Narita Tenno from the Japan Grand Prix from 1990. You see any of her JWP stuff? It's just bad. Like it's just pretty objectionable. This match was not good. Like I don't think it
Hmm.
was bad. Like I said, I've seen a lot worse. But it was kind of like a bit of a bummer because it's like, man, I was really hoping that around this time, Alundra Blaze, she got pretty good in America. Like I was like,
Hmm.
oh, she really improved past her Japan run. It just did not click here, unfortunately, and yeah, that was a bummer.
Yeah.
Maybe go ahead.
Yeah. This was, and fittingly enough, considering what was at stake here, but it was the most WWE TV match you could get
Yeah.
at this stage. The crowd dead silent. I have the special version, so I just heard some guy yell in the back, "Break out Asha and Akira!" So yeah. But it was so fascinating because Blaze was bad. Bull's control segments didn't click because the crowd just didn't care, and the only time they cared is when Bull hit the guillotine and won. And you know, for the semi main of still the biggest Joshi show ever, very much a massive letdown. I'm sure I haven't seen many of their WWF matches, and it's been a while since I saw the last one that I did. But I can guarantee that all of them are better than this one.
Yeah, I have heard that this one was one of the weaker ones for sure. Chris, I know you also didn't like it, but go ahead.
As going in with these two names, me being very familiar and watching a
Mhm,
lot of both of their work, yes, this was very disappointing. Not a good day for me as far as
mhm,
being in the know. But I mean, the crowd was completely out of it. They did not care whatsoever. It just the match just yeah, it didn't know what it wanted to be. It definitely read like a TV match with Bull just getting like all of the offense. Like even the towards the end with the blazing the German, it just felt kind of weird. I don't know. It yeah, I mean it. I did not enjoy it. I won't. I mean, spoiler. I won't call it the worst match of the night for my money, but it just yeah, pacing felt odd to me, and yeah, I mean, I both women have seen their better days
I
for
do like
sure.
this WWF Women's title though. I'll say that.
Yeah, very pretty.
I agree.
Also, I will say two things. Alundra Blaze lost to the standard guillotine in 1994. That's fucking embarrassing, bro. Fucking embarrassing. Do you know how long ago
Bull
Bull
was
started
finishing
hitting
people with that.
the flipping guillotine,
Yeah,
and then she got the Bulls Poseidon, and she got the fucking whatever the submission is. You
that's
know
the
what I'm
Bulls.
talking about.
Oh
The
no, Bulls Poseidon is the
Bulls
other one.
Poseidon is the Deadeye.
Yeah, I know what
Um,
you're talking about.
yeah. So it's like do you know how many more impactful and important finishers she had? And she's like, nah, you get into guillotine, baby. And also, uh, Blaze said after the match, he said, if I don't get my revenge at the Survivor Series, I'll do it at WrestleMania. First of all, I'm pretty sure Survivor Series was like 3 days later, so I don't know how she thought that was going to happen. And second of all, the rematch took place on an episode of Raw.
Makes
And
sense.
fourth of all, if I can't get my revenge at the Survivor Series, I'll get it at WrestleMania. WrestleMania would be like 6 months from the show.
Yeah, it's a long
So
time.
either 3 days or 6 months.
When did it end up happening?
Long range.
That's crazy. A match that happened that actually happened
Mhm.
was Alundra Blaze and Bob Holly versus Bull Nakano and Hakushi.
Oh
Um,
my god, that sounds like a heater.
but no, actually, the
I'd
match
watch.
happened 6 months later, in April, um,
All right.
on an episode of Raw. Yeah. So, and I heard that match was pretty good for a TV match. But moving on, and one more thing, the thing about Alundra Blaze that does suck is that like she got really good in America when they
Mhm.
stopped caring, uh, and then she just lost her love for pro wrestling, and that was her career. Real bummer of a career, Alundra Blaze.
Bad timing.
Main event of the evening, and our final point of discussion is the V-Top Women's Final. It was Aja Kong versus Kira Hokuto. Kira Hokuto prevailing over Kong in 20 minutes 24 seconds. This match was weird because they were both super fucking hurt,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and and I don't think either of them knew what to do.
Oh, I'm about to be so biased based on how you're starting off. Shout out.
Um, yeah, I think Aja was in selling her knee so fucking good, or she just couldn't actually walk. Like I don't know.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm not sure.
I didn't know where you're going, but
Um, and as a result, I
I
did sense that like Hokuto was genuinely confused
mhm.
about how to proceed, because it's like the first two matches for Hokuto was her facing power wrestlers and them like fucking bludgeoning her, really like just like
Mhm.
getting in her face, getting really aggressive, and her finding a way to win. And this match was like very uniquely the opposite. And I don't know if Hokuto was like equipped to handle that on this night. I thought the match was really good. Like
Yeah.
I liked it ultimately because it felt like this match felt legendary, and it is legendary. It's their most iconic outing, even though it's not their best. I still think it's easily their most iconic, and it has the most like you know ground beneath it. It feels like it's something for real. Um, but like minute for minute, it felt a bit like, oh, I don't think we're all on the same page here. I'm a bit worried. They're both completely shot. Like they're both exhausted. The crowd is exhausted. There are so many problems that like really like hurt it, but I felt like the energy and the vibe and just like I think that's kind of Akira Hokuto's strongest suit, is that she can make a match that's kind of all over the place, kind of a mess, and make it feel like something so much more. And I felt like that was this match, and it wasn't just Hokuto. Obviously, Aja aided in that. She sold her fucking life off. Like I was scared. And it's fucking 30 years later, and I was like, how can she still walk? Like I'm concerned. Like there was so much like this match evoked feeling, which is very important, and ultimately why I thought it was ultimately a good match, even if it was a bit of a confusing and like, oh, this is a bit off of a match, if that makes sense. Chris, let's go to you first.
Well, I thought this match was actually amazing. Uh, Given context, of course. Now, I will say this. If you watch this match out of context, you don't watch the rest of the tournament, you don't watch it could get away from you, I think.
Mm.
But it like you mentioned, the context of just from the start with the extravagant entrances with both of them coming off the elevator, and like you could just feel like this was different. Like I mentioned
Mhm.
earlier, the stakes of it all. it just felt different, and I'm a sucker for that. I mean, I'm a sucker for when you go into a match and you know both women, both men, both people feel that, and that always does it for me. Like you said, I mean, rather it was real or not, both of them selling were really tremendous. The leg, especially. I mean, she had me convinced, and maybe it was real, but yeah, she definitely had me convinced. Like, there's something about uh a bigger person in wrestling selling like that. Like that always gets me. I don't know why. It just because it's not abnormal. I'm not saying that, but like it just adds to the realness of the environment. Um,
You'd love the Mako match from '99.
there you go. Okay, but
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
good.
obviously, yeah. I don't. I'm not sure if you touched on it, but the tope did look really bad. You could
Yeah,
tell right away that it was something went wrong. But I think at first it was a bit confusing, but I thought they recovered a little nicely. Like you said, I have not watched any of her other matches, but she did kind of feel out of place in the role she played in the match. But I still thought they did a tremendous job kind of going through their motions and picking it back up.
I,
Uh
I don't even think Hokuto like felt out of place, in her like just as a wrestler, because historically she was a lot better at being like the bully, like being
Hmm.
the aggressor. But I think
Gotcha.
in this role, like in this specific show, where it's like she's supposed to be like this, fallen hero who finally picks herself back up against these beasts and these monsters. I think she was kind of like, well, I can't just start healing on her. I mean,
Okay.
I can't just start
Hmm.
like stomping her head in, which she would have done in most character situations for Akira
Yeah.
Hokuto. Like that would track for the Akira Hokuto a year prior. I mean, or a year and a half later. Like that would have made sense. But I think in this very specific moment, it was like, oh, I can't rely on my heel instincts, my fuck you instincts. I mean, I just read an interview with her where Paul Nakano mentions that it's like, yeah, from like 1990 until 1992, Akira Hokuto just didn't give a fuck. And she would just like shoot on people for fun. And then they would get very upset with her and say that she wasn't trustworthy. And she'd be like, you still got to fight me. And then she just like beat the fuck out of him again. And like nobody knew what to do. And that's why she almost got fired, was because it's like they basically were like, you're not over enough to warrant being an asshole. You do know that, right? You are not over enough to just hurt people. We hurt people,
Yeah.
but so I think that like she was put into a position where she couldn't really like lean on like, you know, power trip Hokuto type stuff. She had to stay in her character zone, and
Yeah.
that maybe made a bit of a confusion there. Xavier, I'm sure you'll have a different take on this, at least a little bit. Go ahead.
I mean, yes and no. Um, because I love this match.
Mhm.
I think, and granted, I understand where you're coming from, where it's just like, it's weird because Hokuto's the story was for her to be the hero that's fighting from underneath everybody, and she did that the entire tournament. But I like this match's layout because Aja's path was she was just beasting and dominating everybody. So now they switch roles in the final act, and they're actually tremendous in those roles. I think
Mhm.
Aja has a fantastic selling performance
For
to
sure.
to the to the point that we're questioning if she's hurt or not. And she's just so good. She's yelping for pain. And there's a spot in this match where I think Akira's just so good that she's going to do the Sasugatami, the Scorpion Deathlock.
Mhm.
And that's a back submission for people who don't know. But Aja won't turn over. So she has the ankles hooked. She keeps twisting on her ankles repeatedly to put pressure on her to get her over. And it's just a masterful match, in my opinion. Um, and to the point that this whole V Top tournament was built for Akira Hokuto.
Mhm.
Her back against the wall. If she wins this, she's not going to retire. And by the end of it, obviously she wins and all that, but to put it out there, and I said it before we even lined up recording. This was Aja's tournament.
Yeah.
She was the MVP. She was fantastic every single match. And the closing act, I thought she shined more than Hokuto did, just because I thought she just had a better performance. With that being said, I still thought it was just a great match wrestled by both. Obviously, they've had better. They've had better versus each other, um, even in the past year. Um, but still, I think it's a very fitting end to a 10-hour Tokyo Dome show,
Yeah.
just because you
Yeah.
have a spectacular performance from Aja, who's this dominator. And I mean, they do kind of, make it all kind of murky with the whole title situation and all that. But
Well, see, I
yeah,
have something to say. So that's a very high, like that's a point of contention here, Chris, which I'm sure you might have caught on to a little bit. Is that the
She
match
tries to
was
hand her the belt.
the match was non-title. Yeah, the match was
Yeah.
non-title. It was for the Tokyo Dome title or whatever, the V Top title. It was non-title, but in AJW, something that happened frequently is that if somebody felt they were undeserving of a belt for whatever reason, they would just relinquish it or they would give it to somebody.
Yeah.
Give it to somebody is a bit, but like I remember there was Suzuka Minami. We talked about her earlier. Her white belt run. It ended when her and Bison Kimura uh, had like a DQ finish. And she, like, championship advantage exists. Like, Suzuka Minami was given the belt back, but she was like, I don't deserve this. I didn't beat her. I don't want it. She vacated. Like, that was like a thing that happened. And so the idea here was ultimately that, like, Aja, uh, lost. Hokuto won the V Top tournament, the 15 million yen grand prize, around $100,000. Um, and Aja attempted to relinquish the belt to Hokuto, and Hokuto refused to pick it up. She gets showered in trophies, and then she says that the belt isn't hers, and that Aja needs to continue to wear the belt so that she can make it shine more than anything else, or something like that.
it kind
I
of
don't have
shits
the
on the
exact.
belt, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
I won the Vita. I am better than everybody in the scene, and I just don't think I want that belt.
To be fair, this is not the first time Hokuto did this. Hokuto
Yeah,
refused the belt 3 times in her career
yeah.
because she faced Aja earlier in the year, I think, or maybe the year prior.
It was the year
Um,
prior.
in the year prior, and Hokuto said, "I'm hurt, so I want to fight her in a singles match, but I don't want it to be for the belt." And it's like, oh, okay, I I guess. And then that's just Hokuto for you, frankly.
I honestly don't understand how she could just win all the time and just refuse the world title.
That is pretty
I don't
crazy.
know, but it was meaningful, and I will say that was a bit fucked because
Mhm.
Aja went on to lose the belt to Manami Toyota in '95, and then Toyota, the only thing she did with the belt was defend it against Kyoko Noe in that shitty 60-minute time limit draw, and then drop it back to Aja. It's like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Whoa, whoa, whatever. But after the match, they were crying, and I think while I don't fully agree that, like, oh, Aja completely outshined Hokuto from a thematic standpoint, I think in ring by far. But from a thematic standpoint, I will say that this is the most iconic shot of the entire show,
Mhm.
by far for me. Her limping out with Rie Tamada and Kumiko Mikawa helping her, and looking back with the belt around her waist, like that. There's something that just like feels like you can feel this moment in time so incredibly well
Mhm.
that it's very moving. I really liked it. I really like the Tokyo Dome setup. I really like,
Mhm.
I think Okada and Tanahashi kind of are iconic for it. That's like you vividly remember the moments of them losing and
Yeah.
walking out
Mhm.
walking out
Production
of the
was
Tokyo Dome.
really well done.
Also true. Also true. Um, but I just felt like this moment was just like really, and I'm not the only one because the DVD replays this moment in the credits. Like the credits is just this moment again, because it really was like the cherry on top from a story standpoint, from a thematic standpoint. It
Mhm.
really just felt like it closed things up really really well. But we are closing in on 3 hours, so
Mhm.
let's fucking get to it.
Let's
We
get
have
to
we have a report card to talk about. If I can share my screen, There it is. We have a report card to talk about.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's a very, very long show. Might be a little bit hard to grade. Ultimately, I don't have like a math to it, so like I'm just kind of going off vibes because so many fucking. It's hard to grade. Um, I would either of you like to volunteer to go first for their
I
grade?
I sure will. God, it's been a minute since we've done a show because none of these are actual crates. Look at that.
Yeah, we
Okay,
haven't
yeah.
we haven't done one since like end of last year.
Can you go up to our previous grades? Just
C
I just want to get
plus,
a feel.
B, B, A, C, A minus, B plus, B minus.
Um, I think. What did we give the B plus to? Hold up. So
Arjan.
Arjan, but there was a second one, no? There's a second B plus, right? Or no, it
No,
was just a B. Okay.
I think we might have moved this up to or no, I think we moved this up to a B
Yeah.
plus
We
or an A
glazed that
minus.
Kurahara produce because that probably
It
should have
was
been. Oh,
it was pretty good.
that's fine though. Honestly, I am actually okay with a B plus.
Okay.
Um, just because I think the highs are too high for me to bump it lower.
Mm,
Like I said, I love the Aja performance in the main event. And you know, it's very hard to gauge a card like this because it's gonna get tiring watching it. But I do think the highs were so good that I can't just be like, oh, this was bad because it was long.
yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't think it was the highs were too great to where I got to go. Okay, this is moving to the A tier, but I do
Mm.
think it was just missing out on it.
This is probably a B plus,
Yeah.
but we can readjust that later. Chris, how would you grade it?
I think with it being so big, it is hard to grasp. But I'm more of a peak guy uh,
Mm,
over grasping it as a whole. And like he said, I think the peaks are so high, and I think that the main event just felt like a main event. I mean, the closing stretch
Mhm.
was amazing. The tournament backdrop was amazing. Like even the worst match of the tournament just felt great to me.
mm.
So, and that I mean, the V top was kind of the whole thing, the whole night. I mean, it was kind of built around it. Uh, and I can't ignore the influence aspect of it either. If I was going just off in ring, I would go B plus, but because of how important and culturally significant the show is, I'm gonna go A minus.
I think I'm gonna agree with you. I'm at A minus for this one. Um, for a generally similar reason. I think for starters, I feel like there was an incredibly high uh floor for a lot of the matches. Like again, I don't have a math for it, but so many matches hit that
Mhm.
that 3.75 mark for me,
Yeah.
or at least that um that 3.5 or whatever, like the 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. So many matches were able to kind of hit that. Um, and while there were obviously matches that didn't, especially when you look at the shoot boxing, the shoot matches and whatnot, um, like that becomes a problem. But if you take those out, especially, like this was a pretty consistently good show.
Oh yeah.
Um, in fact, I would argue that like the peaks weren't insanely high. Well, not insanely high. The Aja's peak, like the Diamond Katsai match, I would say was an absurdly high peak, higher than most shows have. Um, and both of Aja's matches ultimately, all of them actually, come to think of it, were very high peaks. But still, I think A minus is a pretty fair go for it, and I think that lands it at an A minus overall. I think that's fair. Um, Can we agree on that? I think that
Yeah,
evens
Yeah,
out
no,
the
that's fair.
I think so.
um and then lastly, our best match of the night and worst match of the night. Let's let's talk about it, boys. Chris, you first.
Which one do you want? You want me to go worst first?
Go worst first. That's fine.
Okay. Um, for me, it's probably Chigusa and Reggie Bennett.
Mm,
It just it felt real, which is a good thing, but I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. It felt kind of like they didn't have good chemistry, like we all mentioned. It I don't know. I describe it as uneventful.
mm. Xavier, your worst.
Um, hmm. It's tough. Do I want to slander Kyoko Inoue that bad?
There's no
Um,
way.
yeah, nah. I love
Jesus.
Dynamite Kansai too much to give her the worst. I think, I'm just going through all the matches just to make totally sure. Obviously, not counting the challenge matches and all that.
Yeah.
It could be the minis match. I
Huh?
don't think it is though.
No, I actually do also think it's Reggie and Chigusa
I agree.
because
I agree.
it that should have been good. Like
Yeah, it shouldn't have
awkwardness
been
is
bad.
yeah no, but still it should have been good. I think
Yeah.
they should have had something good. But I think that'd be my worst.
Yeah,
And
obviously we're not talking about the challenge matches, but I think the
yeah,
shoot boxing match, the Ito match into the Nagayo and Reggie match was really fucking just so annoying. You know
Bad
what I mean?
script for
Like
show.
yeah, it was like because ultimately I can see like I could appreciate the amateur wrestling. I think it was poorly done.
hmm
Ultimately, I could appreciate the kickboxing even, but like that shoot boxing match into the Nagayo and Bennett, both matches where I was just like actively like just kind of annoyed and
Yeah.
upset about them. Um, so yeah, and then Xavier, you can start with your favorite of the night, which I have a feeling we might all agree again.
Yeah, might possibly.
uh, I really wanted to say Dynamite versus Aja. However, the Aja performance in the main event,
Mm,
I gotta go. I gotta go to the
okay,
V Top final.
okay. Chris.
Mine actually is the Aja and Dynamite match.
Yeah.
I thought it was it, not far and away for sure, but it did it for me the most. I thought not that it had the most stakes, but it felt like both women needed that win, even if it
Mm,
was the semi and not the final. It felt like what they were doing in the match leading up to it, just blow after blow, like heavy after heavy. It was just I don't know, man. It worked for me. Like we all mentioned when we were going over it. You know the close knockout spot. Like it. Yeah, yeah. I would definitely say that was my favorite.
yeah, I agree with Chris. Aja and Kansai is just it's one of my favorite pairings of this era. Like I just think they're so great against each other, and I loved this match even more than I thought I would. Like I knew I would like it, but I thought I would like be kind of stuck comparing it to Legacy of Queens. But like they just did such great work here that it was in its own right super good, and it fit the it fit what was needed of the VTOP tournament in the semifinal. It really delivered, and I appreciated it a lot. I
No,
loved it.
yeah,
That was great.
that's a good one. Listen, the Aja performance selling. Her knee gave out and she just dumped Akira on her head. That moved
Yeah,
me. I'm sorry.
I think Aja the entire night her selling was like
Yeah.
the story of the night.
MVP.
Yeah, she was great. Like I think like I said, I think the Toyota match more than anything, what I saw from it was Aja being super fucking good at
Oh yeah,
selling and at bumping for Toyota. But yeah,
agreed.
that's the end of the show. Chris, how did you feel about your first big foray into uh classic Joshi wrestling? I hope you
I
liked it.
mean, if the goal, and I suspect this was the goal, if the goal was I should come out of this wanting more. I mean, definitely achieved it. I definitely want to see more of a lot of these women, a lot more of all Japan women. I definitely enjoyed it. Definitely a good show to start off. Like I said, I mean A- is pretty damn good. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean overall it was very long. Of course, I'm not uh backing down from that, but at the same time, I definitely am glad I checked it out.
Well, I'm happy to hear it. Hopefully, we'll have you back again another time, maybe to watch a show you actually want to watch, or we can make you watch another,
Hmm.
maybe more manageable show
Either
from
one.
Joshi history. Because I had a great time having you. I'm always happy to talk to you. Like I said, one of my oldest dearest friends. Um, started being friends when I was like 11.
Yeah.
So it's like playing games. It's been a long time, so it's pretty awesome to get you on the show. Um, if they want to follow you, they can follow you at cshippy25 on Twitter. It's mostly sports because he's a sports guy, and that's
That is true.
ain't nothing wrong with
I want to create a separate account for wrestling because I have a separate account for specifically college football and basketball. I
that.
want to do one for wrestling so I have the different audiences because
Mm.
they're not going to interject well, of
Yeah,
course. So at some point, I really would like to do that.
man, I'd be
But
making Bears tweets and nobody be seeing them.
yeah, I mean I
I
see
see them. I
them.
just don't
I
like
see
them.
'em.
Yeah, whatever. Um, and then Xavi, can you get your plugs?
Of course, of course. Twitter Xaviism, three eyes. Blue Sky Xaviism, two eyes. Um, Follow me there. By the time this is up, a new episode of the Star Express podcast will go up where we're talking about Mr. Smack Daddy's crowning. So tap in for that. As far as content wise, I
Big
think
Yoey.
I'm be good. I think I'll be good for the rest of the month outside of the weekly recordings. But stay tuned to my account for all of that. And by the time this goes up, I will also have inherited which was once known as the Stardom Quest Gold podcast, as I will rename it to Pimp's Quest Gold.
You really think
After
Yudro's winning that match?
I'm gonna keep saying yes, and maybe it'll happen. So
I hope he
uh,
does. It would be funny.
it'd be
Um,
hilarious if he
I
saw the biggest star in Joshi,
said,
who's
let me
in
beat her,
the MVP race, and said, "What if I won?"
dude. Shit.
And
Look,
she's bringing hate. Imagine he buries the entire top faction of Stardom. Like, come on.
it comes with the Tokyo Pimps.
Yeah.
Um,
Like,
but yeah, and if you want to follow me, do it at Twitter, at xxgban. Uh, number one on the mic, number one in your heart. That's not the right word. It's 21 on the mic, number one in your heart. It's okay. I fuck it up sometimes. 3 hours in. If you're still here, I appreciate you. It's crazy you're still listening. But what I need you and listen to Storm Quest. I'm not on it right now, but you should still listen to Storm Quest every week. Taking a little bit of a break ski, but I'll be back eventually. And also, the plan currently, tentatively, is to do something for Cena's retirement. I don't know if we'll do like a retrospective episode or if we're gonna do like a live
hmm
stream maybe of watching some Cena matches or what it will be. We want to do something. So that's the plan. Is next month we want to do it, and we got Scott Scott on board, and hopefully Alex will be down for it. It's kind of hard to get his time zones uh, figured out, but hopefully we can get that done sometime next month because obviously all four of us are giant Cena fans, and him retiring is a pretty big deal for all of us. So yeah, hopefully we get to do that next month. But as you know, we can't commit to anything because we suck. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, but we'll see. But without further ado, I think we need to have a little discussion. Me and you, me and the viewer, not you guys. You guys have been great. We need to have a little discussion because there's something you haven't done yet that I think you need to do. You need to tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your brother, tell your sister, tell your auntie, tell your uncle, tell your cousin, tell the girl down the street that you kind of have a crush on, that you haven't really talked too much yet. Maybe you talked a
hmm
little bit once upon a time, but you kind of want to rekindle something. I
For
don't know.
sure.
I don't know. I get it. I've been there. I've been there. But
Oh,
you need to tell everybody you fucking know that the No Limit Wrestling Show is the best show in the biz. Arrivederci, matane.